We welcome all people, regardless of background, belief, or identity, to play tabletop role-playing games. Let's engage our imaginations, pull a veil over reality, and immerse ourselves in fantastic worlds. Don't be a disruption at the table, and always remember, it's just a game. The charity we support is the Wounded Warrior Project, a national, nonpartisan organization whose mission is to honor and empower wounded warriors. Please refer to the description below for the link to where you can make your, hopefully, tax-deductible donation. Join us Thursday and Saturday evenings on twitch.tv/legionofmyth to watch Heathen Dog and his team of dirty casuals play multiplayer games for your mockery and enjoyment. Here on our YouTube channel, you can watch these game-related segments live every Sunday at 1 p.m. Central Time, or check out the Friday night stream where our panel of guests opine, comment, and editorialize on the TTRPG hobby as a whole. Please leave us a comment with your thoughts and experiences. If you enjoy our gaming content, please be sure to subscribe to Legion of Myth. All right, before we get started here, because we want to just jump into the fun, first and foremost, I cannot appreciate or thank you enough for being here with us today. We know you could be doing anything else right now, so we sincerely thank you for your time and your attention. Please consider supporting Legion of Myth through the links in the live stream's description. Wow, I cannot say those words. Live streams descriptions. There we go. YouTube takes 30% and Twitch takes 50% of your hard-earned money, while Rumble, PayPal, Streamlabs, and Coffee, somebody yelled at me and said that's how I'm supposed to say it, so I will, take between 0 and 5%. Well, today the super chat thing is going to be a little different. We'll try to stay up on chats. If you super chat $20 or less, less than $20, we'll get to it as soon as it's practical. If you super chat more than $20, or $20 or more, then we will get to it as soon as somebody takes a breath and has a pause. There we go. As many as you know, I'm not even going to talk about the giveaway. That does not matter at this moment in time. We may or may not have a giveaway today. We'll see. So with that, let's do this the right way now. Hello, Legionnaires, and welcome to episode 177 of RPG Digest. I am John Maxley Oshlow, your favorite curmudgeon, critic, and judge. Along with me today are a group of fellows all waiting to dress me up in New West Cyborg costumes and riddle me with simultaneous attacks. My co-host, Brett Heathen Dog Grisper, and the masochist who keeps coming back for more pleasure and pain. We have Sean Roberson here. Apologies to folks, but Kevin could not be here today due to a last-minute family emergency. We're going to leave it at that. So what is good today, gentlemen?
Howdy.
Well, the whole New West thing, you know what? I'll shoot you in the back, sure, right? But Sean down here, he'll hit you with the spittoon bucket. That's worse.
I'm your huckleberry.
All right, so we got a lot to talk about today. Hopefully, we can get through it without too many difficulties here. Man, let me tell you, when we do finally do the Q&A section, I tried so hard to focus the questions in a direction, and everybody still asked, "When's the next book coming out?" So I hope you got those answers ready. But first and foremost, tell us how you are. Tell us what's been going on with Palladium, how you've been doing, and so forth, and how has TMNT been treating you other than really busy?
Other than really busy, it's actually I don't know. It's something miraculous and special. We've been just overjoyed at the number of famous creators that have just embraced the whole project. We're super stoked about how all the art and the new layout and the editing is coming. We think fans are going to really dig, and all kinds of fans. Some fans value this or that, but I think there's just even fans that maybe are like, oh yeah, art, whatever, or oh yeah, rules, whatever. I'm getting this for the color art, or the other way around. I think they're going to look at it and say, oh, wow, this really is something special. The black, white, and red edition, Jeremy Colwell is a famously, he's Freddie Williams, his colorist, does most of his color work for comics. He just has really done an outstanding job with the black, white, and red edition. So we're looking forward to showing more of that off. I mean, you can see his work on the cover of the black, white, and red edition books, but expect more of that inside the books. It's just really neat to see. And then the tributes keep rolling in. We're letting a lot of people slide under the door, and I'm kind of savvy. I know what's going on, so I was like, yeah, well, I'd like to get these, files to the books done, in March. And then it was like, well, we can wait a little bit longer for, these VIP guys were like, hey, well, but we really need it by the end of March. That's the deadline, and of course, it's probably going to get all finished up on my end in mid to late April. But yeah, that's how you play the game, I guess. We got a lot of guys sliding in. It's great to see because they're busy. The Turtles is a huge success again, right? With I don't know if a lot of fans have seen, like there was The Last Ronin from IDW Comics, and that's done really well. But since then, over this past year, The Lost Years has been really kicking butt. The new movie is kicking butt, or kicking tail, kicking shell. And you've got the new Mutant Mayhem movie that came out, and there's a really cool God of War style video game coming based on The Last Ronin. And so it's just a really, I don't know. And they're doing all these different things, like the dedication to in Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird's hometown, where they created the Turtles. They got Ninja Turtle sewer plates. It's just like the Turtles are as big as ever, and it's really great to be a fan, but also be a part of it. And it's amazing that all these amazing creatives are chipping in, and not just doing a piece of art, but doing two pieces of art and writing a remembrance. And we've got a remembrance from one of the fans that play tested one of the Sparrow Eagles with Eric Wujik. So it's just a lot of neat stuff coming into the book that I think is going to really take it to that really special place for a lot of Palladium fans and Turtles fans, old and new.
Okay, I have a question about that.
Yeah.
In many other books, especially Riffs, but in other books as well, World Books, Source Books, whatever, there is more often than not a kind of campaign where there's series of events that happen that are supposed to happen during the book, and your PCs can play these series of events and be part of it. Is the new Turtles book any different, or are we waiting for supplemental stuff?
That stuff. There's not. So I'm doing an editing pass. We're working through all the material to make sure that it's looks really as good as it can ever has. I'll put it that way. But the original book has a lot of material. It has a great starter adventure with the Terror Bears. It has a bunch of stuff with Doc Farrell. And a lot of those threads are picked up in the other stuff, because these two books encapsulate all 6 of the original Ninja Turtles TMNT and Other Strangeness supplements, including the transdimensional TMNT and TMNT Adventures. And so there's a lot of stuff that does pick up and continues on with the Terror Bearers and with Doc Farrell. So there is a lot of continuity there, and there's a lot of adventure material in the 2 books, because the first book has those introductory adventures in the core book, from the core book, and then it also has Turtles Go Hollywood and Truckin' Turtles, and then the transdimensional adventures has the TMNT Adventures, which is the best selling of all the adventure supplements, and then also the transdimensional TMNT material and Guide to the Galaxy. So there's a ton of adventure material in the books. Long story short, that does connect. And if you want to do a campaign that has the Terror Bearers and Doc Farrell and riffs off a lot of that and does a lot of really cool stuff with these 2 books, you're going to be set for a lot of gaming.
All right, so it in the new book, it doesn't have a new overarching campaign per se, but just taking the sample adventures and the information in this book, you can create such a thing. And if you didn't want to, all of the older supplements still have merit. All the older supplements still can be used.
This is a Redux edition of those original supplements. So there's we do have a new adventure, an introductory adventure that Sophie Campbell is working on with Kevin, and it deals with the Sparrow Eagles. So there's a lot of, but unlike the traditional, a lot of Palladium fans will be used to, like, the hook, line, and sinker, or the really short adventures. These are much more, I would say, just a bit more fleshed out. A lot of NPCs are named. The scenarios are really clearly and cleanly presented. So I really think that the adventure material in these books really packs a wallop when you're going for a long adventure campaign style, but still have a lot of stuff that you can change up with your group or run stuff in between or afterwards. I mean, there's a lot of really cool things that get left open-ended. That like did the terror bears cause the apocalypse?
Probably.
I imagine.
I mean, it's in the name, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, it caused the after the bomb. You know what I mean? So,
hey, that would be a better backstory than the new after the bomb. No, I'm kidding. Sorry.
Well, you'll have to read yourself. I mean, it's all there. I'm not changing any of that core material. I'll just be updating for clarity and maybe so every once in a while I'm surprised to see phrases that I'm like, that's an surprisingly old phrase,
23 skidoo,
right? So yeah, it's weird. I mean, I don't expect it. It's funny because as a kid, I grew up. I grew up in the 80s and the 90s, but it's funny that sometimes I think there's phrases that maybe were a little older, and I recognize them and I understand them, but I'm like, that took me a second to think of, and I think maybe a modern reader might want to, I don't want to twist the meaning or anything, but I want to make sure that stuff is easy for a modern reader to read.
Right. So you got rid of all of the bees knees and cats meows and all that stuff, right?
Well, the ones that are common enough like that, I'm not going to mess with, right?
Really?
But,
oh wow! Because I ask like teenagers and young adults. I say stuff like, "Oh, that's the bee's knees trying to be funny," and they're like, "What does that mean?"
Oh,
huh?
I'm not going full Gen Z, but I do want to make sure that it's all accessible. Yeah,
sure.
And sometimes it's other things that are little like, I think I've mentioned this before when we chatted about it, but most games these days, they don't say if you roll a 4 or lower, you miss. Otherwise, you hit. They say if you roll a 5 or higher, you hit. There's a lot of little like common game parlance phrases that have become kind of the standard way to approach things. Different ideas in tabletop gaming, and so Kevin and I think it's important to bring a lot of that updated, so it's just a lot easier for a modern reader.
If it's game design terms,
a lot of us are still gaming, right? I mean, but that's for me that's more familiar language, right? It's my brain clicks with that faster. So
I don't know why, but when I have an echo, Heathen Dog doesn't when he talks, but I have an echo when I talk to you. That's weird. I don't have anything else open, but. If it's game design terms like that, because let's be honest, there we go, went away. But
I muted myself. You know why? I mute myself when I'm not talking.
If it's game design terms, I think it's one of the things we talk about on the Friday night shows a lot. Is we talk about the hobby and game design in the 70s isn't the same as game design in the 90s, isn't the same as game design now. And yeah, a lot of those terms do change. And I have zero issues if the terms are being changed for that. I just hope we're not getting, and I'll be open about this, I hope we're not getting some sort of sensitivity reader pass on that. And I'm not trying to call you out or anything like that. It's just, or get controversial. But that's been a big deal, like on the WotC side right now, where just say the language is changing. It's not just being inclusive, so to speak. It's really trying to redefine the culture. And I don't care what you do going forward, but we're talking a book that's supposed to be from the 80s and basically reprinted for that. So I hope most of the presentation is still the same, with those tweaks that, like you said, do make it easier for somebody who's just getting into the hobby or might be used to a different game, can look at it, read those rules and say, okay, I get this.
Yeah, no, there's no intent to change the original that core content or approach to sociality and culture, I guess is kind of the question there at all. But there's a lot of it's like, for instance, I think in the glossary it said players characters instead of we hear player characters, what you say.
I got you.
Right? But I was like, oh, that's an odd little artifact, and I thought, oh, I'm going to update some of these definitions, that a modern reader would. It was just interesting what terms were defined and exactly how they were defined. But I don't think most of it. But my goal is most of it. I don't think anyone's even going to notice the difference. And I know that might sound kind of weird.
No one is going to notice player character and player's character. No one's going to notice that. They're going to think it was a typo before, and you just fixed the typo.
Yep.
Even
exactly.
though technically it's more correct. It is
right, and there's weird things like that, but that's become the parlance, the modern parlance. But I mean, you probably noticed that I moved some definitions around and did some things just to make sure it's uber clear to a modern reader using, because we campaign, adventure, that these terms have taken on a lot clearer meaning within the broader role playing community than they did at that time, because you have to remember Palladium. When Kevin and everyone in that time period, I mean, they were really defining a lot of what role playing is, especially outside of the standard procedure of a Dungeons and Dragons game, right? With the dungeon master. Well, what's a game master? Because you're not kicking in doors in a dungeon. You're not.
Well, using the words that you were just saying a moment ago, in Britain, it's a games master. So maybe he was just writing British style players character.
Technically more correct, but it's awkward to an American audience. So I get it. If you're making changes to clarify,
those are good.
Yeah, clarify your meaning rather than trying.
That's it. That's what we're doing. I'm getting rid of typos. I'm getting rid of grammatical errors. I'm going through, and I am trying to make sure that everything's as approachable as possible. Some of these places where we've already discussed this, it's actions per combat round, just so it's really clear to everyone what's going on. Because some players will get confused. They'll say, a melee round, is that only for hand-to-hand combat? Well,
we did that in an episode on example combat.
Yeah, we did that.
Right.
So that happens. Yeah.
And then the other thing is it's normally attacks per melee, but really it's intended as actions, the number of actions your character can perform.
Right.
And so, and Kevin and I mean, it's very, to him, that was always the intention. It's just interesting when the parlance or the understanding within that
change over time,
shifts, and especially shifts and changes to be unclear over time. Right. So
so Max and I, we are under the agreement with each other and agreement with the universe that a main book should be mostly a technical manual. It should be parts of it that actually teach you the system should be pretty dry. Should be very clear, should be reproducible to everyone.
Stereo instructions. That's what people accuse me of writing, is stereo instructions, but I'm all on board for that.
Yeah. And if you're making changes to clarify, those are awesome. Those are the changes I love. That's great. Love it to death.
Yep. Not retheming adventures or anything like that. Nope. This is I mean, to us, this is. And we hope that Eric Wujcik would be happy and approve of everything we're doing. We're trying to bring this back in the grandest way we can, and a lot of this is as a tribute to him. And personally, as I've talked about before, this is the first RPG I ever owned. I was a big Ninja Turtles cartoon, and then as I got a little older, I got the graphic novels, and then what some of my friends said, "Oh, you love that, graphic novel, those graphic novels with the turtles that are so violent and awesome. I have this role-playing game. It's got a lot of that art you like." And that's how I got into it. I'd played some D&D with friends, and I was a BattleTech fan at the time. But I really got it. Yeah. But I got in, that's how I got into Palladium role-playing. And so a lot of respect for Eric Wujcik's work on these great books, and a lot of fun. My earliest role-playing experiences, especially as a game master, were running Turtles Go Hollywood. So
that's really actually where you do better than me, because I have, of the main Turtles books, I only have 2 of them: TMNT and Other Strangeness and Transdimensional. Everything else I have is After the Bomb. It makes sense if anybody who knows me, it makes sense because I love post-apocalyptic type games or settings.
And you love anthropomorphic animals.
Well, yeah, and I like anthropomorphic animals as well. But it took you guys to convince me that those are different lines. Like, I see them as the same thing. Like when somebody's like, "Oh, let's play TMNT." Great, Roadhogs. What? Well, that's not TMNT. Yes, it is. but in the legal sense, those are completely different lines. And I was running into that when trying to get questions for today as well. People want to know like what's going to happen with those books and so forth. It's like, that's a different line, folks. I don't like it either, but that is a different line. We're going to be focusing on the TMNT aspect of it, which is related to the comics, which is related to the original game. But I don't have Truckin' Turtles or Turtles Go Hollywood and so forth. So that's going to be a benefit to me getting these books. Is like I finally get the books that I never had.
Well, it's so funny that you say that because I mean, I came a little late to the party. I grew up, similar to Kevin. I was a fairly poor kid, I guess you'd say. I traded some stuff for the TMNT and Other Strangeness RPG. I think it was some BattleTech stuff or something. But
what?
And yeah, I know, right? My mom later was like, "Sean, why'd you do that? You love BattleTech. You shouldn't." I was learning. I was a like 12 or 13 or something, and I was learning about you trade away that one thing, and then you're like, dang, you learned that lesson. I shouldn't trade away the stuff that I love, even if it's I'm interested in this other thing this month or whatever. Yeah, it's absolutely it's interesting because I got Turtles Go Hollywood and I got the TMNT Guide to the Galaxy, but I never got transdimensional TMNT or Truckin' Turtles. So I'm excited to really dig into those, and I've been having a lot of fun with that. And
hey, we got some videos on transdimensional. I just covered that a couple weeks ago. You can get your primer.
You can.
Sure. And just so that the fans understand, I mean, the original After the Bomb was a supplement for TMNT, and then it was like, hey, this is a really different IP. We need to split this off. So,
Sean, I have a question for you. Yeah. I since I don't have TMNT and Other Strangers, I don't know if this adventure is in the scope of what we're talking about, but someone in chat put up that the TMNT adventure with the nuclear missile silo is a little dated. Now, is that something you can talk about? Something that you revamped, or something that is, not now, but maybe down the line?
I'm gonna have to take a look at that because I haven't gotten there on my editing pass. Yeah, I'll be taking a fresh look at that. We are taking a look at a lot of stuff just to make sure that, like, we're adding a new equipment section. So that's with modern equipment and stuff like that, and the gear that people will be familiar with. Yeah, I'll try. And sometimes that happens a lot with. I'm guessing they're speaking about the technology of that adventure.
Very likely. It's probably all VCRs and video cassettes. I mean,
but if you actually ever worked in the Air Force and know much about this, you would know that Air Force.
It's all floppy disks. Oh no, you got it wrong. It was all floppy disks.
As dated as you think.
I hear. So I work right next to the programmers here on Maxwell Air Force Base, and the programmer's like, yeah, this one guy is the only person who knows how to keep this system alive so that certain jets can fly, and we don't know what we're gonna do if this dude ever retires. So how old is he? I don't know, like 94, 95, something like that. And yeah. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but not by much. I mean, they are obviously
not really, actually. And no, I mean, for instance, it boggles the mind. When I was in my unit at the NSA, the 94th Intelligence Squadron, I mean, we used the U-2 spy plane, right? And the Predator drones and stuff. So that's like ancient. The guy puts on a spacesuit, like a Apollo era. Type spacesuit.
Yeah. And
you go around with the guys to take a dump, so they have to return to base.
Just to solidify this, it may seem dated, but a lot of the military infrastructure in reality is sometimes 20 or more years outdated.
Oh, easily.
Yeah. Often 2 generations of human being.
Yes.
And that's the challenge with upkeeping it. That's why they do these refresh programs. But unless because the other thing is a lot of the stuff in fusion, fission, whatever, atomic weapons. I mean, you've got decay that happens with the rare minerals or whatever you want to call it inside of them. There's a lot of different kinds, but so that does need to be obviously swapped out and refreshed. But a lot of times, anything that works, they don't mess with it. I mean, yeah, and it's like I know a lot of people, their minds were boggled. I grew up in Houston, so I've been to NASA. I've known a lot of people who work at NASA, very intimately as close friends and engineers and stuff like that. family members. But you know, when they started redoing the Orion program, it's like, oh, we're having to figure all this stuff out again. Yeah, because I mean, it's literally this brain drain when a whole new generation or two comes through and we haven't been to the moon, and everything else was on VCRs and in printouts and
Microfiche.
yeah, and I'm shocked what Kevin keeps here. And no, I mean, like, really, absolutely. And I'm shocked what Kevin keeps here and the things that we have archived. I mean, that's been amazing and very positive way. But you know, even big government agencies like NASA struggle with doing stupid shit. Sorry, pardon my French. Like overriding their own stuff. Because some guy 15 years later was like, oh, it's just an old tape of whatever. Let's just reuse that tape for this old recording device that we're still using. The other thing is with the government, if you've ever been in the military, you'll be like, if they can keep it in service, they'll just keep it in service a lot of times because they don't want the budget to. Why would we redesign the thing that works? So yeah, I mean, it blew my mind when I worked on supercomputers at the NSA. And it's like, it looks like this. That's what the screen looks like, really.
So. I'm gonna address a comment in chat because it's kind of a theme. So I'm always busting Nerdy Ogre's balls recently, but some of the futuristic tech and riffs is outdated. Okay, couple things about that. First of all, I get what you're saying. People have the same complaint about, say, Shadowrun, because technology keeps moving on. You know, and if you're playing like me, still 1990s Shadowrun. But here's the thing: it doesn't have to be outdated. You update it the way you want to update it. It gives you a frame. Remember, Palladium is a great framework game. Yeah, and you know, and if you're talking riffs, pardon me, if you're talking riffs, it's already screwed up and backward when it comes to technology anyway. Who's to say they don't have a 1970s computer there that's finally working?
That's actually fair, you know, because after the golden age of mankind and then 200-300 years of utter bullcrap, some stuff was kept, some stuff was lost and had to be re-engineered, sometimes starting from scratch. You know, if you had a crystalline, you know, data holder type thing that could hold 5 petabytes of data in the palm of your hand, and then 300 years of dark ages happen, you might have to start over from VCR tapes, right?
And vacuum tubes, right? Yep. Yeah. So, well, and that's, you can also think of it as an alternate reality is another way to deal with it. I mean, that's kind of how Fallout gets around the problem. But I mean, I also think that when I mean, I've been aware of this because I've seen that happen over the course of decades as a gamer, right? And so for me, it's more, you know, well, you'll probably see it with this Turtles Redux, depending on, I don't know how much computer equipment was in the first one anyways, but there wasn't a lot. But the point is a lot of times it's more about, okay, this does this, it's a powerful computer, it's not, or it's a portable one, or what does it mean in the game? You know, we don't need to list the RAM and gigahertz.
What's the range of the Wi-Fi of this one?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, yeah. Which Wi-Fi is it? You know, oh, that's so dumb. They didn't know that we're gonna have Wi-Fi. Blah. You know, not
so,
G.
We do have a $20 super chat.
No. I'm gonna. We're not gonna read that right now. Okay. So, CP, I already have your question in the queue, but we're gonna do the Q&A at the end of talking about all the stuff that we got to talk about. Your question is in my queue. So, thank you, sincerely. Thank you for the $20. We will get to it.
Okay. Let's see. Another thing. Changing TMNT rules for the current era, right? A lot of times I look at the older Palladium books. I'm like, oh, cool. You know, I can drive a Buick, you know, like a big land arc, you know, like I can bounce off 3 trees like a pinball.
Ford LTD.
And just break plastic parts, you know, like hose it out and sell it to somebody else, you know, like great. But and it has armor, like 2, 3, 4 points of, you know, of armor or AR or whatever. Newer cars are flimsy as hell. They're made to be destroyed. Have you brought down the AR for these vehicles that are like a Honda Civic or a Toyota Corolla or whatever that are made to die on any impact?
No, I haven't.
Oh.
I mean, this is more of an update, no, I haven't. This is not like a redesign. This is a you know, a fresh coat of paint, if that makes sense.
I know, but
I'm not really expanding the vehicle list, and then, hey, these were made out of recycled tank steel. These weren't, with completely different.
Basically, yes.
Yeah, I mean, actually very true in many cases, depending on the time period. So no, and steel, that's a whole nother rabbit hole.
So I mean, with that in mind, we were joking about when I was covering transdimensional TMNT. We were joking about like, I wonder if the books can be updated because back then we all thought that dinosaurs were lizards. Well, now they look at them as like they have feathers and all this other stuff. I'm like, I really hope they don't start drawing these things as walking big chickens. That would be really annoying. Or there's no such thing as a brontosaurus. Screw that. Everybody loves the brontosaurus. It exists whether you like it or not.
Instead of Land of the Lost, it's Land of the Big Birds. Like,
right, exactly.
No.
So
yeah, no changes there. No, we're not.
Thank you.
It's the same. It's the same art, colorized, but and it's the same thing. It's a fresh presentation, and there is. I'm trying to make sure that we have all the basic stuff you would need, so you're just not like, gee, they didn't list a cell phone, but at the same time, I don't know if we'll include beepers or something, you know what I mean? But it's not going to be some weirdly reductionist, just adding in all the equipment that's ever existed in between or something.
I still have a beeper in my junk drawer, damn it.
Right. Well, this isn't like ninjas and super spies. I mean, it's about mutant animals, right? So, I mean, how relevant is that really to the gameplay? We want to make sure we have the basics covered for everybody that wants that, and for people who would be confused by just having Ada's equipment in the book. But the funny thing is, when it comes to weapons and firearms, I mean, these are ancient weapons, these are modern firearms, and that's been very little change in the interim. So that's been
reception in a sewer is crappy. So cell phone's not going to do you any good anyway. So shut up.
In the sewer, right? Yeah, but what about the sparrow eagles when they're flying above? Should they have great? No, anyway, actually, so you've talked the multiple times you've been here, and Kevin, you've talked in the past really about what you're doing with the game, and if you want to talk more about it, we can. I kind of think a little bit it's been a dead horse beaten. I would like to know actually more about the relationship between you and Paramount, because I hear nothing but how supportive Paramount has been. And I'm not trying to dig up anything on them. I just but talk about in simplistic terms, like how helpful they've been and how supportive they've been, I think is the word I'm looking for in terms of making this work.
They've been awesome. And so funny thing is though, is because I remember the first time we came on and chatted with y'all, I mean, people just wanted to know honestly about that relationship and how it happened. And it was funny because one of our liaisons, he came back and he said, "Hey, don't talk about us. We're supposed to just be in the background. This is supposed to be about the artists and the other creatives involved," which I actually kind of really respect. They said that.
Sorry, Paramount, for the question.
Yeah, sorry, Jeff. No, but they're really great. Well, for instance, one of the guys that we work with there a lot, who's over a lot of important stuff. He was in the chat when we did the live stream in the last day. He wasn't in the interview, in the video itself. Do you see what I'm saying? So, and I really appreciate that. Now, at the same time, Kevin and I have told him, and he's probably sick of hearing it. He still grins every time, but we just tell him we feel like he's a part of the team. The review process is part of this. All is officially licensed product, right? And we're doing a lot of stuff. Every one of these illustrations, the tribute illustrations, are going through like at least 3 or 4 stages of approval as they progress from getting multiple sketches to a tight sketch and inks and colors. And that's because they want to make sure that April O'Neil's eyes are the right color, that this or that detail is the right, correct detail for Absolute Carnage or whatever.
Yep. Turtles don't eat pineapple pizza, dummy. Yeah, that's it's pepperoni.
My turtle does.
That's like my favorite pizza. But anyways, yeah. So it has been a really amazing experience, and we've told them that they feel like a member of the team. He feels like a member of the team. The other ones that we've worked with have been really great to work with. Everybody wants the best for the Turtles, right? And these people are also very engaged with the original creators, and so that was one of the things that I think. Without going into too much detail, we have talked to other people in the industry who said it's impossible to get the Ninja Turtles. We've tried, but when they when Paramount talked to a lot of the people involved with the Ninja Turtles, like Freddie Williams and Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, apparently they were just like, oh, we'd love to work with Kevin Simbita again. We love Palladium books. We've always had great experiences with them. So, in fact, I think it was the Forbes article. It might have been the one in Screen Rant, but one of the articles that was out there that I was surprised of the coverage. They talked about how rare it is for, especially the modern day and age, for a company that did an original iteration of some licensed product to come back decades later to rehelm something like that. It's often just, it's the same people aren't involved at any level. But with the Ninja Turtles, Kevin Eastman is every day working on Ninja Turtles stuff that's coming out right now. So is Kevin Simbita, right? And so I think that's kind of rare, and it's pretty fantastic. And they've been really great. Again, they've been really great to work with. They've made a lot of things possible. We did discuss, I think early on, there was a lot of things that we got to do as exclusives to the Kickstarter. But we got to do them, right? And because, for instance, with the miniatures, because that's a smaller run, and I used to work for Games Workshop. The Nick Kay, who was he's the art director on those with Transperfect. He used to work with Privateer Press and GW, and he works, does a bunch of video game stuff and other big studios. The thing is the sculpting. If you want good sculpts, and I think we've got some really beautiful miniatures.
I don't suppose you have any of those that you could show off, do you?
I don't, but you can pull the images off of the backer kit, though.
I can't get to it again. It says, thank you for filling out your form. Every time I try to go back there, it won't let me.
Pull it off the pre-order page. Oh, no, you can't see it on the pre-order page. So, yeah, well, sorry. That was a weekly update recently, but they look amazing. Oh, wait.
Is it on the weekly update?
Landauer did check the Instagram. Check our Instagram. We have posts on Instagram about it. With
what?
Instagram. All right. While he's doing that, let's look at some of the stuff here. First, I want to thank John of the Ozarks for the membership. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And that's going to come later. This one is
most Q&A stuff is going to be later on. I have already the questions, or we'll start for later. So.
The dinosaur question is for now, because probably not going to answer that later, because that's probably not going to be something. So, the whole thing, you're not changing the existing dinosaurs now, but going forward in new supplements for TMNT, if it's popular enough, which I believe it is. So new supplements will be created. Will the new dinosaurs get bird type, bio-E type powers associated with them going forward? Or are you just going to say, you know what, we're going to stay the course. This is an 80s game. We're going to have an 80s vibe, and there it is. Which way are you leaning? I'm not asking for a definitive thing, but
yeah, that's a really interesting question. I mean, if you put feathers on them, I mean, my understanding so far is it doesn't. I mean, a pterodactyl can fly because a pterodactyl has wings, not because it's got vestigial feathers or something, right? Or using downy feathers.
Well, a pterodactyl isn't even a real dinosaur anymore, I don't think.
It isn't. Oh, I just know the Brontosaurus is the one that gets all the dinosaur experts, butthurt. But
right. So, but yeah. So that I mean, I wouldn't. We haven't talked about that specifically. I'm not aware of anything about feathers that would mean it would change major game mechanics.
Right. But you know how, and this is one of the things that I'm struggling with, because partially I do it and partially it slaps me in the face when I'm doing like a live stream. Is, man, the pedantry of gamers is interesting. Like, it's really it should really have feathers on. Okay, well then yours has feathers. Okay, can we move on now?
Do what's right for your game and your story. Right. Absolutely. I'm not saying like. Don't describe the dinosaurs as feathers or
exactly right. I mean, if you want possible dinosaur abilities to be merged with bird abilities now, guess what? You own the book, right?
Right.
Go ahead and write that in. Pencil that in.
Yeah, you want to. I mean, I whatever. That's totally your thing.
Man. You want to make it more scientifically accurate? That's fine.
Illustrations, anything that changes with the dinosaurs that I'm doing. It's all focused on, maybe like some clarity of wording, or there's a few places where you've got stuff like maybe the cost of BioE, just trying to be consistent with something. But it's all pretty simple. Again, this is not a the future is the future, and you know we're trying really hard to be very careful about what we talk about for the future.
What, you don't know the future?
Well, that too, but like we didn't know we were going to get turtles until we did. So you know I can't tell you what we might get next week or next month or next year. But Kevin and I, we'll just say we're ambitious. So we are excited about a lot of things now and in the future. But even without any sort of specific things happening with stuff that's outside of say Palladium's normal core game lines, that's actually our true focus is just building up Palladium to get the most awesome books possible out and push forward all of our game lines the best we can. So I just hope that helps. I know it's more of a general.
Helps us, but without a specific tell me what the next thing is, everybody's going to still have the questions over and over and over again, which I guarantee you we'll get to later. The reason why, by the way, the reason why I asked that the Paramount question is because I know. So I listened to all of them that Kevin was on, and you snuck in at the end of one of them, the Glitter Boys podcasts, and I thought they were. I thought they were really well done. So good for you guys. Good for Glitter Boys. I hope people go out there and listen to those because it's really informative. But everywhere you go, you guys talk about how wonderful that Paramount's been on that. Well, in the back end, people keep saying to me, like, oh, Paramount's probably hosing them over here. Paramount's not letting them do things that we want them to do. Like, where are the PDFs? Paramount says no. Why can't we? Just things like that. And it's like, no, actually, Paramount has been really open about, at least from what I've heard, unless you guys are lying, which I don't believe, because look at everything that you've been broadcasting. I was like, no, they've been really supportive. So, there are limits what you can do, though.
Yeah, you can't always get everything you want instantly. And there's everything's a negotiation. But we're very ecstatic about what we're doing here. And the focus on this project is bringing back these classic books in a physical format. I mean, this is the number one question we get back. Please bring back the books. Please bring back Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Okay. We're doing all of them. All 6 of the original books are coming back. And we're focused on making these just something really special, a true tribute, because we do understand that some people love the black and white with the red mask aspect. And this was actually at the suggestion of our friends at Paramount was, hey, what about doing a black, white, and red edition? Because that's a fairly common thing in comic books. And I was really excited to see. Apparently, IDW is doing something special, a black, white, and green little mini thing with a lot of different Ninja Turtle stories by different artists and authors. I hope we helped inspire that. That's great if we did. But it's not just about Paramount, though. I mean, when we went to Great Lakes Comic Con a month or so ago, Kevin already met these guys because he's so famous and knows everybody. But it was my first time meeting Jim Lawson, and I'm going to blank on names suddenly. Steve Levine and Dan Berger, and it was so funny. We went in and some people were asking questions about the Redux of the TMNT and Other Strangers RPG, and Kevin and I we'd gotten there a little late, so they were sitting on the panel and. When they got they answered the questions. I actually was really impressed with how Steve was answering some of the questions that the fans had. And then someone asked another more in-depth question, and Kevin's like, hey, I think I can answer that question. I'm Kevin Zambita. And all the guys in the panel were like, oh, Kevin, come on. Like, yeah, Sean, come up here. So we had a lot of fun doing that and chatting with them afterwards. And they're just great guys. And man, they were just excited to see everything that's happening. And they apparently hadn't done together, hadn't done an appearance in, I think, like a decade or something. And so, but these guys, they love the Turtles. They're awesome creatives. They're all doing tribute art for the new books. And Jim Lawson, I showed him the colors by Pharaoh Pei, who did the color work for The Last Ronin, which is not Pharaoh Pei, Luis Antonio Delgado. He's doing the colors for this, and he's doing a lot of the colors on the new edition as well, backing up Mike Majestic, because there was 500 pages worth of book, right? So of 2 books. And he's doing a great job, and it's just awesome. When I showed Jim Lawson Luis Antonio Delgado's colors, he just was beaming and really excited. That really got me excited to see him loving the color work and the colors that we'd chosen to color his lines and inks. So anyways.
No. So again, not trying to derail off the TMNT stuff, but because that's what the first part of this is going to be about. With all the time that this is taking and how this has grown, come on, there's been scope creep, but good scope creep with how this has grown, and we'll just say the word, a lot of the politicking that has to be done because you have a bigger corporation, you've got a lot of fans to please, you've got all these moving parts. How have you had time, or have you had time to work on really anything else, or has it just been pretty much like a 95% focus on this?
Yeah, so Kevin, so Bestiary 2 is in advanced stages of work. So hopefully a lot of fans will appreciate that. When Kevin can, he's been doing actually art for Yinsloth Expeditions. He's and finishing up some of the adventure updates there. So there is work going on other stuff, but to be honest, yeah, I mean, it's the turtles blew up bigger than we expected. I mean, that's great, right? So we've been taking a lot of action to free up me and Kevin from other duties as much as possible as well. So we do have new hires. I know a lot of people are like, well, just hire people. Well, we don't want to just like hire someone that's not a good fit and then fire them 3 weeks later or something weird, and the Palladium really is a family, and we treat people like that. I hate firing. I hate hiring, but mostly because I hate discipline and firing. But I've had to do a lot of it before. So anyways, yeah, that's Christopher Landauer has been an amazing addition to the team. We've got other people you may have heard of, when we mentioned in the weekly update, my brother Caleb, Kevin, and he chatted because he used to work at FedEx, and he understands packages and mailing and all this stuff. I mean, what we do here isn't rocket surgery. It's just doing a good job of packing things and keeping inventory and helping fans out, get the stuff they need from the web store, right? But we brought him in. He's loving it. He's doing a great job. So we're doing a lot of things to make sure that the organization as well is running smooth, running slick, updating stuff behind the scenes that you'll never see, but the software we're using for our weekly updates, mailers, and different things like that.
One of the things that interested me in the pre-show notes that Kevin sent and is 20% of the people haven't filled out their backer kits. 20%, like, so folks,
that's
if
correct.
you have, well, he sent me the note. I hope it's correct. If 20% of people haven't filled out the backer kits, guys, check your emails, check those spam folders, those junk folders, whatever. You want to fill out that backer kit. My follow-up question to that was, I'm wondering, and you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, again, a little controversial question, I guess. Do you think a lot of those were the $1 ones that were just there to, I can't believe that 20% of people wouldn't fill out the backer kit.
Hang on. For everyone who doesn't know, if you don't fill out your backer kit, you don't get certain things from your order.
I don't think it'd be finalized.
Yeah,
I could be wrong about that, but
you won't get it. So you paid for it, but you won't get it.
So if you haven't done it, please go do it now. And you can just go to, I don't know if we put the link recently in the weekly update. We put it out a bunch of places. It's in, I think the most recent update it's in the most recent update to the Kickstarter itself. You can go to the page and then that could be possible. That's part of why if the back kit may be failing to send out emails. But I mean, some of these emails we're also generating, I think, through Kickstarter with the update that should send out an email as well. And that has a link so you can go to the pre-order store, or if you just go in and type in your Kickstarter associated email, you can get into the backer kit system. I mean, but yeah, like I was talking to my parents, and like my mom hadn't updated her info yet. So it's just sometimes it's the biggest fans. My mom's my biggest fan, by the way.
Of course.
I don't know.
I
There's a
hope
couple
so.
of guys who might give giving her a run for our money, but I'm talking about you, Morgan. Yeah, like there's it's just funny when I talk to some of my friends. They're like, "Oh, I haven't filled out my backer server." Like, I'm like, I'd like you to. I mean, you paid us. I'd like you to get your stuff. Yeah, we're going to look at what we do in the future. You know, we are considering just running crowdfunding on BackerKit to avoid this issue in the future and make sure everything as smooth as possible experience for our fans.
There you go.
I told you. I'll tell my mom she's got to work harder.
Well, I just wanted to make sure that was, because that was a really surprising number for me, and that's why I asked that question. Because at one point there were a bunch of people who were putting up messages out there, just back it for $1 to say these things on there, yada yada. And I'm like, that if it's those folks, I don't care. But if you really did fill that out, whether it was $1 or it was $888, and you haven't done your backer kit, you got to do that, folks. You want to get your stuff, and I'm sure that you guys don't want a million books. I mean, it's great to have books laying around that you can sell, but you don't want a million books laying around in a warehouse that don't have homes.
Yeah, well, the other problem is
Worse than that other people already bought, but you can't give to them. That feeling has got to suck.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't like that. So this isn't as abnormal as you might think.
Okay.
This is not my first rodeo.
Just seems like a high number.
It seems like it, but it's not.
Okay.
Just honestly. And so I'm not like shocked or anything. People are just busy, and there could be some technical issues, like some fans said. The other thing is yeah, please do go. I mean, just search, just Google backer kit Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and you can pull up that page and put in your email, right? Call us on 9 to 5 Monday through Friday if you're having any trouble, right? Or email kickstarter@palladiumbooks.com, and we would love to help you out and make sure that you can get everything set up the way you need to if you're having any trouble or haven't gotten notified. At the same time, we're very happy with the amount of upgrades that people have been adding, and I haven't gotten specific metrics from Chris because I'm trying to let Chris Landauer fill his role, right, and not do everything myself, which is always a temptation, especially for me. But from what I understand, I don't think there's some bizarre thing with $1 pledges, or anything like that. In fact, we've seen like the opposite. It seems that the upgrades have been really great, especially when people saw the miniatures, and then when people saw the Game Master screen, and we also got the sample from our manufacturer for the Mutagen Green dice, which we are putting out. We're working with Fanroll for a bunch of dice, but this is going to be a Palladium product that's going to be out for a while.
Well, I already spent way too much on this, and I upgraded mine on backer kit, so you got even more money out of me.
Okay,
thank you.
I think you should apologize to someone because you just said, hey, if you're having problems with stuff, call us. That's Palladium. And from what I understand, do you have one main person answering the phones?
No, there's different employees that'll answer the phone.
The one I always get is Richard.
Richard?
Yeah.
Richard, he's here he's only been here a few times. He was helping us out.
Really?
During Christmas season.
He apparently called every one of those days.
Well, no, I tried calling to get my tour a while ago. I must have called a couple of times and busy. It was a TMNT thing. It must have been a TMNT thing. I left messages, but I guess they didn't get through anyway. Dude, apology to all these people answering phones because they might answer a lot of phones now.
Well, that is the thing. I mean, so Wayne's back in the office part days. His knee surgery has gone well, so he's doing kind of half days and then working from home the rest of the day as he gets his strength back. And Caleb's here, Al's here. So yeah, Richard was mostly just helping us out during the crazy Christmas season. and
That's
most of the time on the weekends. So
yeah.
if you called and got him, that's just
That
like
was it.
surprising.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I did call on one Saturday, and I called on a Wednesday.
Yeah, my email.
Thursday.
Email me, and we'll get your time
All right.
set up.
Well, everyone was busy, and I understand why.
And then that was the other thing is we are coming out of like just running around with like chickens with our heads cut off over the Christmas season. We just had a bumper Christmas surprise package season, and the turtles on top of that. It's just been
You were killer, I'm sure.
Yeah, and then of course we were super short staffed,
Right.
and so we knew with the new year we were going to be making a lot of changes, and when people are becoming available and have time for stuff. So
well, one of these days, Heathen Dog's going to drive down there, and he's just going to be on your front door making blowfish. Like, let me in
the window like
in.
this.
So do you want to? Should we show off some of the art that that people might not have seen?
Yeah.
For
Some
TMNT,
newly minted as public certified.
And we can start with okay. I found Instagram. By the way, I don't do Instagram, so that was
that was a thing.
Yeah. So let me present here. Yep. Boop. And I'll click on them because I think I can do that to get in there. So
nope.
Let me see these things. I don't want...
You need an account.
I hate social media. I don't do these things. Forgot password. No, I didn't forget a password. Well, there you go. There, just gonna zoom in.
That's something.
There we go.
Let's just do it that way. So hopefully you guys can see that out there. Are these the final versions, or these like the working versions where they keep going back and forth? Because I've heard people talk about how this process works, going back and forth, make sure things are right. Where in that process is this?
So yeah, when you see the miniatures, you're either going to see an approved sculpt, which is, a lot of times they're doing something similar to like a T pose or some sort of basic just standing pose. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to see if you see something that is actually posed with an action type pose, that's it. It's final. It's approved. So they have gone back and forth. There was a lot of back and forth. And part of it was just because we were unlocking new miniatures and stretch goals, and we worked really hard on these. To be honest, I mean, it's a great team to work with. It's TransPerfect, but there's a lot of me and Kevin in what you're seeing as well. That we wanted very specific things. Or, for instance, Leonardo, you can see him at the top there. He looks. The pose is very similar to what it is on the cover of the book. Michelangelo, it's just this really playful grin as he's in the lowest crouch we can get while still fitting him on the base. Raphael looks like a knife murderer, right? Stalking forward. Shredder and the two Foot Clan are straight out of classic early TMNT art that's also featured in the books. So yeah, we're really happy.
Shredder looks like he's doing a Shia LaBeouf "Just Do It" pose.
It is kind of like that. Is funny. It was so funny you say that. So this is something funny. We the one that's I can't remember if the pose is approved. The sculpt is approved. The pose I think is now approved, but I can't. I have to remember. I'm not. I think it is approved. Anyways, but originally the old. Have you ever seen the original Fugitoid comic? He's kind of doing this thing where he's trying to like shy away and hide from people that are searching for him. The sculptors did a great job with it, and when we got done with the sculpt, and then they posed him, but it looks like he was dabbing, and so we had to change the pose to be something that didn't look like that. So fortunately, Just Do It isn't as much of a meme.
And how big are these miniatures?
They're going to be equivalent to like 28 millimeter heroic Games Workshop type.
Okay. So there, I like the different art that was put on this GM screen here. A little bit of old and new. I like that.
Yeah, I did a lot of work remastering and cleaning up that art. The scan that we had, actually, from a couple of scans that we had of that wide art was by Kevin Eastman for the original GM. It was used on the original GM screen and used as I think it was the cover for TMNT Adventures. And but it was just so beautiful, and he was so complimentary when I sent, because I didn't know this. the original cover for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Other Strangeness was the first painting that Kevin Eastman ever did.
Oh,
and
really?
This is one of his like second or third, very early paintings was this other wide one. And it's crazy because you can, if you look at it closely, you can see like this big jump in his painting style and things like that. So when I sent him the cleaned up files from those, he was just, it was like Christmas for him. And I was just so happy that I could do something that made him happy after all the years of awesome comic book goodness that he's brought to me. So
I have a question about the GM screen rear.
Yes.
I see all gray.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine that's because the text back there hasn't been finalized, but it also has clear pockets with inserts. What is that? I understand clear pockets, but what inserts?
So it's going to come with rules reference inserts that we're going to have printed.
Okay. All right.
Right. But we wanted to make sure, because I like to do competitive analysis, or competitor analysis after when I went to university for design and production. That was one of the things that they really drilled into us about design and product design was, hey, look at what your peers or competitors are doing. And I just thought that was the coolest kind of GM screen because you can put 8.5 by 11s in it really easily and swap out whatever you need to. It's not like you're stuck with whatever's printed on the back of that screen.
So two things about that for Heathen though. One, that's actually kind of standard now. Most of my GM screens that I get that are modern are like that. They're with the pockets. Sometimes you have to make your own information. Sometimes you don't. But if you remember back in the day, like I had my own Earth Dawn one. I had my own D&D one. I was always making my own anyway because I didn't like what the companies were putting on there. This information's useless. I don't need that, but I need more of this. I'm absolutely happy that they're going this route with it. And I can show you some of my other ones that I've bought that it's all they are. They're just pockets. I like the fact that this is 4. Most of mine are 3.
Yeah, it's been the GM screen has been a super popular add-on in the campaign, and as have the mutagen green dice, which I think we gave you a picture of as well. And they look great when you roll them. It's really neat. I sent you I think a GIF. The colors are a little down res, but you can see the liquid swirl. I mean, Kevin literally was running around for like 2 days. He's like, "Hey, Sean, where are those dice?" And he just wanted to roll them again and roll them again.
I'll get to those because this is a file, so those are files. So I'll get to those in just a moment.
Okay, no problem. But I just wanted to let the fans know, like we're really happy with how all this is coming out, and we're really dedicated to making sure that everything's as high quality as possible. So,
I didn't notice this before when I saw this, but the color of the glasses for the turtle, I did not catch that the first time I saw that. Now I see it. Now I can't unsee it. Somebody said in the chat that I like turtles until they went all cowabunga. Yeah, I'm kind of the opposite of Sean in this one. I didn't like the cartoon at first because I was like, "What's this kids show? What's this kids show? These aren't my turtles. My turtles are killing things and saying damn." And but
I just experienced it in the other order, right? So
yeah.
I kind of came late to the party a little bit because I was a little on the younger side.
Pardon me for being 50.
Yeah, I was what? 7 in 1985. So,
Young whippersnappers. All right, let's see if I can show some of those other images. I have them all over my screen. Let's start with that one. Can I share it like that? Present. If not, I'll just share the screen. I'm just sharing the screen. Boop. There we go. I don't have these in any particular order, by the way. This is just the first one that was on the screen. I don't want to zoom in too much because you lose it. So who's this? I can't read the...
That's Ciro Nieli. So he
Nieli.
did the 2012 Turtles computer animated series that was really popular. Kevin really loved it. He was so cool to talk to. I mean, this guy, he's really big in Hollywood, and he's doing all types of really cool stuff. And Kevin and I called him. We got a meeting with him through our friends at Paramount helped us, get the conversation started. And we were just talking with him for like 45 minutes. He's like, "What do you guys need?" Like we were just having such a great time chatting. And he apparently just, when he was younger, he had the TMNT and Other Strangeness. He was like, the game master that didn't have enough players kind of thing. And so apparently he made like dozens and dozens of characters, like 50, 60, 80, some crazy number of characters. He's kept making characters. He got just obsessed with making characters using the character rules, which, I mean, no surprise, he goes on to be a really great writer, director, storyteller, producer kind of guy. an obvious artist. But no, he said I don't want to just do one piece of art, because we know he's so busy, right? And he's like, I want to do at least 2 pieces of art, and I want to write a remembrance, and it was just really great. So we're really happy with what he brought to the table. The salamander is one of his characters he had created, one of his favorite characters he had created. So he reimagined him as under the control of Doc Farrell. So
is this how the art is going to look on the page, or is this is this missing a background, or is this exactly what it's going to say?
That's how he presented it. That's how we're
awesome.
It.
No, that's good. Like, I didn't want to see text around this or behind or whatever. I like, because I think the saturation of this is really good. I like the way it pops out of the page, and this is the type of art we hope to expect in TMNT. I'm happy.
If you're on Instagram, you can go check his page out. He actually showed progress as he was doing these pieces. So that was really neat. He's a really nice guy.
Next one we'll do. I want full screen. There you go. Zoom you back out. There we go. I got Leonardo standing on what looks to be. He's in Egypt.
Yeah, it's an Egyptian themed. Yeah. So Nick Kay, who's the art director on the miniatures, he's actually on paternity leave right now. His wife just had their second child, their first son, and he's very busy. Very, things are going great for all the great people at TransPerfect Gaming, and so we mentioned to him, hey, we know you're busy. If you want to do a tribute piece, we could have someone else do the color work. And we got off the phone with him or the video call, and we were like, yeah, it's too bad. We just know he's so slammed. Like, late that night, we get an email, and he's like, here's a sketch. I hope Paramount likes it. Because usually we're asking people for like 3 sketches, and then we go through the selection. And because one of the things was make sure we don't have like the exact same characters repeating over and over. We start getting a lot of mutant rabbits, or something.
Kevin mentioned that's like getting lots of rabbits. Like,
yeah.
Is it Usagi Yojimbo? Is that the thing? Like,
not just that. Kevin also mentioned, rabbits are common lab animals, because a lot of them were unique. It wasn't like they were Usagi Yojimbo clones or something, but yeah, it was weird. But anyways, yeah. So he did this sketch, and Mike Majestic did the inks and colors, and I really liked what he brought to the background and the lighting.
God dang it. Of course.
Well, again, this, if you remember the cover, this is for the folks out there. If you remember the cover of TMNT, the background looks very reminiscent-esque of the newer cover of the book. So I think this fits right in with it. I like the contrast of your artists. You've been oversaturating these pictures because there's good contrast on these things. And here's another. Okay, come on. There we go. This one almost hurts my eyes, but I love it. It's so bright. But I love it.
This is understandable because they're in a dark room watching TV. So,
on the old tube TVs, right?
Yeah, the old CRT.
Zero did this one, and it was just his homage to his love of horror movies. And so, yeah, he wanted to have Casey Jones, the Terror Bears, and the Dream Beavers, because he wasn't able to use the Terror Bears in the 2012 animated series, even though he loved the characters. And so he created the Dream Beavers to tell the story he wanted to. And so he came in and with this piece and was like, I want the Terror Bears and the Dream Beavers, in the same image, and just something fun. And this is, one of the examples of just something really unique that some of the artists like him have brought to the table. That's really exciting. So
this is purely 1980 CGA graphic. I expect to see this in my Tandy 1000 game. Like I'm telling you, I'm having flashbacks from this. Maybe that's why I like it. Like, I just really like how it pops out, and I'm expecting to see.
Well, and that's one of the things that it's interesting that you talk about that, because a lot of this is the colors and the lighting. And that's one of the things that I think that when you experience the book altogether and not just seeing a piece here, a page there, that Mike Majestic did really well. I've mentioned it before, I believe, in somewhere in some interview, that he went and researched, okay, in New York City in the 80s, what kind of fluorescents were they using? Exactly what kind of hues are those going to cast? And I mean, that's just it's so funny because I didn't ask him to do that specific thing, right? But when he mentioned it and I saw it, and I was like, this is just right. You nailed it, man, because that's the type of attention to detail that really dedicated creatives bring to the table. And I was just really impressed with a lot of that. And again, it ends up being this awesome homage to that whole era and the experience. Right.
It looks completely different. You're right. I mean, my wife's the city engineer, and she talked about street lighting and replacing the old sodium lights with newer LED stuff, but the look is completely different. It's like, oh my God, am I in the upside down now? This is not right, because it looks completely different. So I understand why that research was needed.
Well, there's actually some weird science out there about the types of energy that different lighting casts and how it actually affects organisms, including humans, right? And it's just that's a whole nother rabbit hole. But a lot of times people don't think about that when they're doing certain things, and then it starts to catch up. But yeah, it's really fascinating. It's really fascinating stuff, and it's just really cool to see that level of dedication to the source material and the homage. And the tributes are really special. I've been just so blown away with them. I suggested to Kevin we should put them in the weekly updates. So he started doing, I think, one per weekly update. And so we just want to share with the fans all this really great stuff. We don't want it to just disappear into this book that people didn't even know there was this cool stuff in there. And that's why
this is even cooler than what I thought. You've shown off some of this, before, not these. And it's like, okay, the art, I like the updated art, like for the equipment section and so forth. But this art, like I said, depending on how the book's put together, I mean, it helps that I've got a black background here as well. But it's just popping off the page. That although the previous one where I was talking about the background as well with Doc Farrell, boom, just popping off the page, and I really like that.
Yeah, so the main idea is, we'll have the books, of course, are full color, fresh new layout and all this, but the tribute sections is where we're going to have, for each book, is going to have a whole bunch of illustrations like this, plus the behind the scenes material and the written remembrances by a lot of the same artists. We've got Wayne Bro has one. A bunch of Palladium artists that people are familiar with. So it's going to be a lot of fun for fans of either the comics or the Palladium RPGs, or both, even just cinema. Like we're really excited about all of it.
Sweet. Oh, I have a next button. Oh, that didn't work. Let's go away. Stop with the pop-ups. Windows 11, man. I still have to learn it. And here's line art. Now, is this is eventually going to be colored in, or is this example just line art that's in the book?
No, this is Kevin's line art and inks, and Sophie Campbell is going to be coloring this piece.
Okay.
So,
well, this answers a question that we had. Was it last week when we covered Dinosaur Swamp? So if a Tyrannosaurus headbutts somebody, didn't you say that if he wasn't wearing strong MDC armor, heathen dog, he'd just be pureed?
Sure.
Well, now you get the art for that.
Awesome.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, we're it's just fun. And this is another example you were asking about Paramount, and that was one of the things they suggested. They said, hey, because we knew Sophie's really busy with all the IDW TMNT stuff right now. And but we reached out to ask, hey, would you be interested in inking Kevin, coloring Kevin's inks? And yeah, she was like, oh yeah, let's do that. So we're really excited to. There's this, and there's another piece, but I don't think I sent that one. So I don't.
I didn't see another one that was like this. Like this face.
I think that it was just line art. I can't remember if it was just pencils that have been submitted so far, but this has been approved. So. Okay.
I can't stop looking at the turtle down here. Sorry. And I think this is the last one you sent me. And this is
Yeah, I just wanted to show this off. We have a lot of people asking that come from stores and things like that. So if your friendly local game store is interested, we have been really bowled over by the amount of orders from game stores. And I just wanted to make sure that everyone knew this was out there. That they can still get in on a really great deal for retailers because it's the retailer pricing at the Kickstarter price still is available through the pre-order. Once this pre-order ends, the prices of the book are going to go about I think it's $10 for the books that are going to be available at retail. So again, pre-ordering right now, whether you're a retailer or just someone who wants to get in on the Magic, that's a great thing to do through the backer kit, and we're going to leave that open until basically everything starts shipping out to backers. That's one thing I did want to mention. So a lot of these items that are Kickstarter exclusives, if you did back the Kickstarter, make sure you get in and update your pledge or your info for shipping and all that kind of stuff, because when we send this off to the printers, we're giving them an official number that's going to be made, and that's it. They were, as part of our contract, these are exclusives to the Kickstarter backers. So anything else that would only be a very modest amount for promotional purposes.
Okay. Now this isn't a complaint. I'm truly curious. I noticed there are two covers that aren't in this selection: the black and green, and the Sophie Campbell covers.
Well, there's one Sophie Campbell, and then the Kevin Eastman cover painting is in progress. But no, those are all the mutagen green foil editions, with the cover art by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird collaborative. It's new art, right, that they've just done. That is a Kickstarter exclusive, as are the variant covers by Sophie Campbell and the new painting by Kevin Eastman. So those are, so if you're a backer, you can upgrade to get those items, right? If you didn't back during the Kickstarter period, we have these available. These are going to be the items that are available at retail, the two core books and the black, white, and red edition of each one. But that is going to be it's limited to what's going to be available at retail. You can still get in on the good pricing, right, and have it as early as possible before. We're going to be making sure that this goes out to all the backers and pre-order people before it goes out to our general distributors. So you can still get in on the early bird stuff to a degree, but it does not include the backer kit, or the Kickstarter exclusives.
All right, folks, if you want those special covers, 20% of you have not filled out the backer kit, and those of you who have, you might want to update that backer kit, because they'll be bye birdie after that.
These are going to be instant collectibles, right? I mean, unfortunately, miniatures are expensive to make and things like that. So I know that because they're only available as a Kickstarter exclusive, the mini sets are a little bit they're not as low price as I'd like them to be, but I think that they're still great value, especially when we added more miniatures as stretch goals. So I think they're pretty dang good value now, especially that you can see the quality of the sculpts. So definitely don't sleep on that.
Apparently I missed one. Sorry. Now this one's definitely a little more cartoony.
Yeah, this is Mike Majestic's tribute piece. So he really wanted to go back to the early '80s vibe of stuff. So yeah, this is his tribute piece for TMNT and Other Strangeness. We'll probably put this one in Transdimensional TMNT for obvious reasons. But sorry, not Transdimensional Adventures, the one that includes Transdimensional TMNT. But yeah.
Gotcha. So, but again, I'm liking all the art. I mean, again, because it is following certain themes, certain tributes, certain inspirations. So, yeah, I guess that's all you sent me, Sean. That's all you sent me. So, boom. There we go. But no, I like, showing off more stuff. We got to show off some of the mini sculpts. Again, some people may have already seen it if they're really hardcore followers and they have Instagram. I definitely like the GM cover. I like how that was put together. These images here, can't wait to see how Kevin's Tyrannosaurus there is colored in. But I like the way it's, man, It burns my eyes, but I love it. It'll be like burned pixels on an old monitor. I just can't get rid of them. But it's good stuff.
Thanks. Yeah, I just want to share because it's just hard to communicate. You know, I think, we colorize the art, we're updating, blah blah blah. But the rest of what's coming together, and like I said, we have some people sliding into the door. So Apollo Okamura included, for instance. Just a lot of other artists that Palladium fans will be familiar with. Stephen Cummings, Michael Wilson. You know, it's just really cool. I think a lot of fans are going to be like, "Oh, okay, this is pretty neat." So,
do you have? I mean, I can get it here. I just want to make sure that I'm covering the stuff that I was sent by Kevin originally that we talked about. The pre-order. Can I get that linked off the Kickstarter page? I can't I? Because there we go. Yeah, pre-order now. So let me just first of all do this. Present. Okay, so on the Kickstarter page, the Kickstarter is closed, but you can pre-order now. I'm going to put the Kickstarter link into chat right now. Anybody watching currently, and I'll put it in the description of the video later. Can take a look at that. If you have not ordered yet, you can pre-order now, or if you need to update something, so we'll mash the pre-order now button. Please don't tell me I've already backed. Okay, there we go. And you can pre-order that book, all these books, add-ons. Look at all this stuff. The Mutant Ninja. I really want to see these things glowing, like in real life glowing.
The Mutant Green dice.
Yes,
they're really cool, man. Do you have that photo? I sent you that photo. Can you show that?
Did you?
Yeah, throw out the file.
I didn't see that photo in the list of attachments. Hold on, let me go back. Okay, if I can work my computer properly here. Where is my Gmail?
Black with green dice. It's like a black velvet.
Well, while he's doing that, I'm going to throw this up into the thing. El De Luna says, my brother got his name because of the first cartoon when he was a kid. Or she was a kid. I loved the Turtles. My name is Michelangelo. So that worked out. So you would love the cartoon, right? You're a kid. Your name Michelangelo. Hey, look at my turtle on screen. I asked if I could have a brother named Leo, and bam, we've been fans ever since. That was pretty funny,
right?
Okay, so none of this will dox you. I just looked. So, but oops, I said switch. I thought, but I don't see that one in the ones you sent me. I see these right here. And I can't scroll down for more.
And resend real quick.
Okay. You get to see it here first. I love when people get to see how the sausage is made sometimes. But let's get this back up here. Well, he's sending that. And so go check out that pre-order. I guess I could now put the pre-order link into hopefully the description later. But bam. If it's a gift, that's fine. I can open it up and it'll just be like the photos were Malachi. So there you go. All the links. Did I just put it? Oh my God, I put it in the same place twice. Well, I'm spamming you with links. You're getting them all. There you go. So you can check out the pre-order. Don't miss out, especially if you haven't filled out your backer kit yet.
I just resent it. So hopefully you'll get it momentarily.
Yep. I'll wait for that to pop on in here. Hopefully I'll refresh.
All right, here's an intellectual exercise. Okay, while we're waiting for that, it's a little off Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle branding, but I thought it was neat. Just your opinion, okay? Just a general question for the nerds, which is us. Would you classify Megatron as an evil mech droid glitter boy-ish thing with his scope cannon gun thingy? I thought it was this question because you know what? I never ever thought of that. But thinking back, yeah, man, that gun was huge, right? But in the cartoon, it didn't seem to do significantly more damage than anyone else's gun. So I got to say no. That is not glitter boyish at all. But what do you think?
It just depends on how important the original Transformers movie, the cartoon movie, was to you.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he did kill a lot of guys in that.
Funny, I just watched that yesterday.
Only when he was transformed into a gun.
Right. No, he was more powerful when he was transformed into a gun.
Yes,
now, I will
think
say,
that's the
Optimus
kicker.
Prime laid some people low too, or some Decepticons low pretty quick too in that movie. I mean,
That
that's
is true,
one of
but
the
he
things that
used a
my
regular gun.
bloodthirsty inner child was just like.
That's true. Yeah, he was having his hero moment. But I'd have to say no. I mean, that gun is not significant enough to rate it, a glitter boyish type gun.
The
But
funny thing is, if you read the tech specs, it should have been. It's just they couldn't do that for the cartoon.
Should have been. That definitely should have been. But according to the TV show and the movie, when he's in his robot form, that gun doesn't significantly outperform everyone else's gun. So gonna have to say no on that one. Well, that was an intellectual exercise. Do you have the GIF now? There it is.
That's definitely glowy. You can see it glowing in the background.
Now, how long does it stay glowing after not being exposed to light anymore?
So it actually just looks like it's glowing because of the material that's inside. It's not exactly like glitter. It's actually
not
really
phosphorescent.
Cool. No.
Oh, so it isn't one of those dice that if you put it in front of the light for like 5 minutes, you can roll it in a dark room. And
the first sample they sent us actually does that, and it's great if you're rolling dice in the dark.
Who does it?
Which we quickly realized. No, we need to do something that you can use at the table. So what I did was, and it's odd because at least I haven't seen anyone who's done this. Because different people have different liquid filled dice. But the material we've got is pretty neat inside the liquid filled area. And I had them do an injection of color, a specific Pantone into the plastic shell. Mm-hmm. And the odd effect was it came out a little lighter than I intended, but the odd effect is that when you roll the dice and when you look at them, it's really hard to tell where the center ends and the dice you're touching, like where the center begins and the dice you're touching ends. It seems like the whole die has got that effect because of the way the color injection functions.
Okay,
sometimes you see these and they're very obviously there's just a color in the center, and then the plastic or the resin or whatever of the die is just plain clear. If you put it on certain surfaces, it might be really obvious.
Okay, so it doesn't glow, but it catches light in a certain way to simulate it's doing something. Right.
It's and we've been like I said, I have them for a reason because I keep going and getting them when they're not in my on my desk, and Kevin keeps coming in and rolling them and showing them to people and swishing it around. So we've been having a blast with them. He said it in the weekly update, but we had this fan come in. He's from Chicago. He just retired as a firefighter, and he came to visit. That was what he wanted to do when he retired, I guess. And so he drove out here, and we showed him the place, and we showed him the dice, and he's like, every single one of my players is going to want a set of these. So it's they're just pretty cool. There's something, your animalistic brains just likes watching the pretty colors swirl.
So one question and one comment. We'll do the comment first. I really like. My number one favorite thing about this, it's still missing 2d6, by the way, but I love the fact that you can read the numbers. That's like the only rule I have at my table is don't bring these weird specialty dice where you can't figure out what the numbers are, or they're hidden, or it's black on black or something. No, every one of these dice, we're looking at them right there. I can read the numbers for every single one of them. So that's awesome. Absolutely awesome. Question though. Since it's got weird things in the center and so forth, have you actually seen if they roll properly or if they always come up 8s? If you put them in in a little glass of water to see how they float?
I haven't done any glass of water floating. That's the first time I've heard of that one. And I used to work for Games Workshop, so.
Well, you get people who are. So I had friends that used to shave dice when we were playing in the 80s. I don't know why, but apparently they wanted to win at TTRPGs. But then you get the people who would be like, you can only buy dice from this one company because every other die isn't actually random. Things like that. So I just want for the folks out there, are these dice truly random, or are those the numbers we can expect on every die? Like every time I roll D8, I'm going to get a 4.
I think they are close to truly random. But that said, if you're going to go play RPGs or tabletop war games in Vegas for money, these may not be allowable. Yeah.
It's just like, because when you said injected, that reminded me. I had a friend who used to take his dice to shop class, drill a little tiny hole in it, and inject them with lead. So or not, wasn't lead, it was pewter. And that when he'd roll, they would actually roll with an advantage for him. That wasn't perfect, but it was good enough where he'd have the advantage.
Right. Yeah. No. Like I said, this is a different injection. It's during the process of making the physical die itself, right? But yeah,
they're safe for your table, folks.
One thing that is cool, if you can see it, is the D4 is really interesting.
Let me
because
make you full.
It has a it's shaped a little differently. They added the bottom area, but it means that they can fill it with the stuff.
Okay.
So anyway, that was an interesting detail that we noticed, but I'm perfectly satisfied with that shape. I thought it was really neat. But yeah, they seem to roll very randomly. We've been, like I said, we've been kind of fascinated with them. I haven't noticed any weird specific numbers coming up over and over or anything like that.
Well, each one could be different,
Right.
Don't know. I mean,
maybe what you need to do, tell the fans. Well, but I'm here. You can send it to the Rifter at palladiumbooks.com. Just keep a log. We'll probably need this videotaped just to make sure it's accurate. But roll each of your dice 10,000 times. And give it.
It's funny you say that. I have one video where somebody sent me dice to advertise, and this was like a year and a half, 2 years ago. Heathen Dog might remember. It was the one on the Friday Night Chill stream where I actually put on the chem suit because he didn't send me his return address, so I didn't know what it was or where it came from. So I was like, I don't know if you gave me anthrax, so we're gonna open this up. And I was actually wearing military chem MOP 4.
Yeah, MOP gear.
So, but anyway, he sent me dice. I rolled those things, I think 250 times. I didn't do 10,000, sorry, but I have a video montage of me rolling them, and I wrote down the stats of what I got for those dice. Like, this is how they'll roll for you. They're pretty random. So I won't do that again. That took me all day to do just to get like a 30-second clip. That was horrible.
What you have to do, the big thing is to get it to be accurate at all, you have to take the sides of the dice and multiply it by 100. So you can roll the D4 like 400 times, but to be accurate, you need to roll that D20 probably 2,000 times. And
you have to have different hands do it too, because just
different temperatures.
Yeah, right. Well, that's so we got a lot of good stuff there. One of the things I kind of want to avoid, and Sean, you say whatever it is you want to say when it comes to this. I don't want to repeat too many things that we've said on other streams, though. While we are trying to capture new folks, I think they can go back and watch some of those other ones. Plus, again, you got your Glitter Boys podcast. You guys have been making the weekly announcements that I've been trying to repost as well. There's a lot of good stuff out there to find out where you are. The main thing now is obviously the Kickstarter's over. You made your 1.3 million. Okay, I know it's not going to you, it's going to artists and shipping and so forth, but you guys have the project made the 1.3 million, so that's awesome. But we really want people to get the products that they want. And this, I wish I could show off a little bit more in the backer kit, because I filled mine out, though it says sorry, but you filled out your backer kit. There's nothing to see here. But you can upgrade those orders to include these dice. You can upgrade your orders to include those 2 new book covers. The miniatures, I think, are automatic for most of the backer. At least the ones I got.
I mean, certain pledge levels include those, but a lot of people, I think, were waiting to add those as add-ons.
Yeah, they wanted to see them. Yeah,
Actually, in chat, someone said that they put in their $1, so later on they could go in and add the things that came up because of the stretch.
Smart. That was smart. I hope you did that, though.
Yeah, no, we suggest that. Now's the time to do it, because when we can get these books ready to go, and there's obviously, it's not just books. There's all these other products that we're sending off to our printer manufacturer partner. So we're going to be sending that out as early as we can, and we're going to try and make sure that ahead of time. But we're closing in on that time period. I would hate for someone to think about this and then a couple 2, 3, 4 weeks from now be like, oh no, I missed it. So get in there now. Max, you should be able to go in and say, I want to edit or upgrade my pledge. And
I'll try again, but every time I've tried to go into it, it says, thank you, you've completed your survey, blah, blah, blah. Like, I think it was because I actually did a finalized, like, this is what I want, but but I did add on the green book covers, because that wasn't part of any, I was waiting for those. So I don't think there's anything because look, I backed for $888, so there's nothing else that I needed. I was getting everything anyway, and then the Legion of Myth version, I just needed to make sure I had one of each cover because I'm going to use those for giveaways. Because you know what, I like to give back a little bit, even though Legion of Myth is broke right now. Let me write this down.
We
Not
do
because of
appreciate
that.
that.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to always do that. You can always let us know if you need some stuff.
Oh, it wasn't because of that. It's because of the computer, business computer. You know.
I get.
So you know, Legion of Myth isn't rich. We're not Palladium books. Have to pay my artist too. There we go. There we go. Anyway, let's see what else. What else is on this list? Pre-order store backers, please fill out your surveys. TMNT and other stages progress report. Is there anything in the progress report aspect of this? You said you're still doing the editing pass. Question for me then is how much longer? I know you got many other things around that. Just specifically looking at the editing pass, about how much longer do you think that's going to be? And you are muted.
I don't know. I mean, it's that's the thing about when you do an editing pass. If you run into something that's a problem, suddenly it's normally stuff like this. I mean, this is not my first rodeo. I'm pretty confident that this is going to be done, including all this other stuff, sometime in the next few weeks. But
Okay.
But we'll see.
Mid-to-late
Yeah. But at the same time, I mean, there have to be approvals. They might, Nickelodeon might come back and say, "Oh, hey, this, or whatever." I don't know. You never know, right? And that's one of the things I've learned is, but we have, I would say we're very on schedule right now, and I feel very comfortable with our projected date in September for shipping this out to backers. So I'll put it that way. We're still currently very, very confident on that. Of course, we just like with Titan Robotics, I think it went out. We had said June, and it went out the second week of July after all the weird shipping stuff that happened with that, and our shipping partner and original shipping partner. So I think that if anything does weird like that does happen again, of course I'm going to communicate with the fans like we always do. But right now, it's all really great, just trucking along. Yeah, like I said, the only bad thing is, because I'm one of those guys, I'd rather be ahead of my projections. But it's just like, oh no, we've got so many people doing tribute art and remembrances.
It's funny you say that because I'm the opposite when it comes to Kickstarters. I just assume they're all going to be late. And I don't mean that in a negative way. Like, oh, another one's going to be late. No, because things get in the way. And, most companies announce something.
Also, there's a lot of things that are outside of our control, right? Yeah. And I can't control the fact that Ninja Turtles is super hot, and everybody from Kevin Eastman to Sierra Nieli to all these wonderful people that are just super stoked to work with us on this are also super busy, and it's understandable. And we don't want to hurt IDW's publishing schedule or anything like that, or any I mean, it's you gotta, everyone's playing nice and being friendly. So and I'll also just throw out there. Again, all the original guys, all the new guys, everyone that I've worked with, but especially Kevin Eastman, has just been amazing to work with. So it's really been just a shockingly positive experience. I've heard that Turtles has the best fans, just like I heard Palladium Books has the best fans, and after coming from the Savage World side of things and Pinnacle fans,
they're just pretty okay fans.
Oh, they're great fans. I was like, that's a tough order if someone says they think that the Palladium fans might be better or give them a run for their money, but it's true. I mean, we just got great fans and great people involved at all levels. And I think part of it comes with the type of people that are running, Kevin Simbita, Shane Hensley, Kevin Eastman, Peter Laird, the kind of the kind of people that they are, Clint Black, Jody Black, and then the kind of people that they are going to associate with. It naturally builds really positive, great communities, in my opinion.
Okay. Sweet. Heendog, anything with related to this Kickstarter backer kit, TMNT, et cetera, that you want to ask? Because I've got nothing else. Because again, we have plenty of other videos that lead into this that I don't think we need to repeat ourselves too much here and waste everybody's time. And got a few other things to talk about over here as well.
I'm good.
Anything we missed, Sean, about TMNT other than, just want to keep reiterating that excitement that, get those backer kits. I can't wait to get the product, start showing it off.
And
Yeah,
wait,
I mean,
if you
again,
could shame
my
Max, if you could shame Max into getting an Instagram account, I'll give you $5.
I don't care.
You lost $5 for what? Nothing. For being a nice guy.
$5 these days. Like I can't even buy like what? I could buy like 5 eggs. Not even good ones.
Those double A eggs, not the triple A ones.
Really like light yellow yolk. Anyways, the main thing, honestly, this is just my thing is, I hate it when fans miss out on something cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then I see that look of sadness, that broken sadness in their eyes when they missed something on a Kickstarter. And this one's going to be way more than most because so much stuff is exclusive, and that's how we got to do it. And so I hope everyone appreciates that and is positive about it online, because Paramount has been, in my opinion, just outstanding to work with. So please do be patient. I know it's tough when you hear that there's approvals on this, and that plays timelines, or we kind of like this thing, or we wish that this could be this way or whatever. But just remember, this is all possible because of them, and I'm really excited about that. But that said, if you have friends that you think might miss out on this, and they're going to be kicking themselves, see if they could give you a few bucks or pay you back for getting a set of miniatures for them, or if they just are interested in the core stuff, maybe have them jump in on the backer kit pre-order store. But that's the main thing I'm worried about, honestly. And then one thing I will mention too, for shops that pre-ordered or did the back during the backer kit period, or I'm backed during the Kickstarter period, too many words. So shops that aren't doing pre-orders, but they were original backers with one of those pledge levels. We made it really easy for you to go in and be able to change up what you're getting if you want to add more add-ons of this or that at that retailer level. We just wanted to make that, because we had questions from a lot of retailers saying, well, what if I want this many of the variant covers, or I really want this, and this. So that's get in on that while now, before we have to finalize those numbers. We try and make this as easy as possible. Again, you can always reach out through Kickstarter at palladiumbooks.com. And then the other thing is, if you like especially if you like the fan roll specific dice and the miniatures, hop in now or upgrade your pledge. A lot of people ask about the print sets, and just being able to do stuff like that, and the poker deck that's Kickstarter exclusives, and it's exclusive to specific backer levels, especially some of the cover art print sets and things. So I hope you can appreciate that. We're doing everything we can to bring you as many cool things as we can, in every way that we possibly can. So
I don't know where I put it. I lost my Rifts card deck. I was looking for it the other day. I'm like, where did I put this thing? It's not on my shelves behind me. I have lost the Rifts card deck. I'm sad. I'm a sad person. I will find it. I know I wouldn't get rid of it. So
unfortunately, those are still for sale, right? But unlike these TMNT poker cards, that's
done.
But if folks missed that, those were good cards, and I'm expecting the TMNT. I'm not a card player. I don't really get into card playing, but there's still a very solid deck of cards. It wasn't like some cheap. I can't remember the name of the Hoyle decks or whatever.
Cards.
Yeah, bicycle. There you go. No, it was actually a really good.
The Cyberworks cards.
Yeah, the Cyberworks ones. I was impressed with them. Yeah.
Yeah. And we're working with a different manufacturer, but I think might be another, at least an equivalent step up in quality as well.
So, folks, one thing Sean was saying there that I want to put out there is I get messages on occasion like, oh, man, I wish I would have known about this. I wish somebody would have said something about that. Most of you have social media. Unlike me, you probably have an Instagram account. No, but post, whether it's this stream or whether it's just the link to the backer, whatever, the pre-order, get that link out there, spread the word. Like Sean was saying, hate for people not to know. And a lot of times people don't know simply because I myself get too lazy to post it on our Discord. This obviously has been, but you get what I'm saying. So don't, like, when I put into the comments, share. That's not just for me. That's if you want people to know about it. If you want people to get involved, make sure you're sharing those links. It can only help.
We really appreciate everyone that boosts the signal. I know you might think, oh, I'll just, one or two of my friends might see this, but it makes a difference. And, if your friend posts or someone else, posts something similar, like it, make a comment, that stuff all helps the algorithms too. If you see Palladium Books post something, but yeah, we just appreciate all that, that y'all can do, because that helps us get the word out and get things, trending and stuff like that. And in this case, that's one of the big things about this whole campaign is it just took on a life of its own. And I was just shocked to see a lot of the media coverage and stuff. So, and it's because of the little things that the fans are doing. It really has a lot more power than you might realize.
And I love the fact that you and Kevin have been making your rounds like to everywhere that you can. And I think that's awesome, because I know you don't have a lot of time, but it's been great to see you on different shows and different channels.
We've done our best. Yeah. I really appreciated all the Turtles fan community interviews and podcasts and videos that were done as well. And everyone that suggested various channels, we reached out to a lot of people and did everything we could. And it was just really exciting. I think I can honestly say I enjoyed every single interview. So.
Doug, you're going to say something?
Well, no, he said he enjoyed every single interview. I had an impulse that I quashed to insult him, just to be different, right? But I stopped it. No, but what I was saying was what I was thinking. Again, this is another weird impulse that I'm not going to stop. But what I was thinking is, have you actually tried? I've seen this work in other countries, but you have someone with a sandwich board out on the corner of a popular city somewhere, and it's just a QR code and words around it. Do not scan this.
Oh, reverse psychology.
And it works more than you possibly think it could. Oh my God. People that don't, big red button, gotta hit the big red button. It's the same thing. It
says don't press, but
exactly. Do not press this big red button. People, oh, don't tell me what to do. Click. That's what they'll do.
Well, I'll look into. I'll talk to Chris Landauer about our guerrilla marketing campaign options and who we know to do sandwich boards with QR code.
Next time somebody's late to work, the next time somebody leaves a door open, next time, I don't know, somebody farts in the office and it smells really bad, you got something that person can do. You know what? Sandwich board time. Get out there and smile.
You're going to Times Square. Get out of here.
You're going
to downtown Detroit.
Oh my God! Don't do that. You never see him again. I mean, the only worst place I think is Chicago, but I don't know, man. Don't. There's lawsuits.
How many miles from downtown Detroit are you, Heath and Doug? I mean, you're actually pretty close.
Let me see. I live on 9 Mile. 8 Mile is Detroit, and probably a couple more miles. So between 4 and 5 miles.
Yeah. You're actually closer than Sean. I'm just saying.
but Detroit apparently has an evil force field around it where it keeps the evil inside. There's not a whole lot of spillover.
Oh, okay.
It's really weird. It's like the train tracks and stuff.
Yeah.
And some bridges.
Yeah. Like other side of the track stays on the other side of the tracks. That's what Detroit is, the other side of the track.
I think it's kind of like in Ghostbusters, where they found out the building was made with all this weird architecture that channeled arcane energy. And has runes and sigils on it, and was dedicated.
Yeah,
they must have done that with Detroit.
Nice,
certified whack job. Yeah, that's what it was. Not a genius, whack job.
So the next thing on the list of stuff to talk about, Palladium related, that we love here is not our GM Days sale ends soon, like on Wednesday. So we got like half a week left. Let me show folks what is available out there.
This has been very popular, by the way.
Excellent. I considered ordering something, and then I realized I had zeros on the bank account. And it's like, oh. But I got some books that I'm going to be getting to add to my repertoire soon, so that's good. We got some Rifters in here, a bunch of Rifters in here. There we go. The weapons and armor guys. Guys, have you seen the art in the weapons and armor guys? I don't know what a flambearge is. Well, guess what? There's one drawn in there for you. Weapons and castles, weapons and assassins. Everything comes with a weapon. Even the Orient.
Like hundreds of weapon illustrations.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was over 1,000.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of
Oh,
the
each
books.
book.
Yeah,
Gotcha. Okay. European Castles, Compendium of Modern Weapons, one of my favorite books. I love the penetration values in there. First edition Palladium Fantasy. There you go. All you folks out there who hate the fact that we're playing 2E, well, go get your 1E book, and that's an awesome cover as well.
Yeah.
Something about, I love things with high contrast, and yeah, it's 2-color. Of course it's going to have high contrast, but it stands out. I really like that cover. Of course, my Dragonlance cover is, just as good. Go ahead.
Yeah. But it's also, I'll just say it looks really beautiful in person, and it also has the Arms of Nargash Tor adventure module as well. So it's been, people really like that foil hardcover.
Yeah, I've done a few people to get it, and they do like it. Yes, absolutely. What's up?
You brought up the 1E 2E thing, and I wanted to talk a little bit about your experiences with the 1E initiative bonus from Speed, and the 2E lack of initiative bonus from Speed.
Was there an initiative bonus in 1E?
Wasn't there?
Not that I'm aware of, but I mean, I only have Heroes Unlimited Revised. That's the only 1E thing I have as far as I'm aware.
Okay, well, there used to be an initiative bonus if you had a high speed, and then it turned into it turned into something else.
Well, in TMNT, it was the only thing I've ever seen for speed other than movement, and this is just my experience, is in TMNT it gave you a bonus to dodge.
In the original
one, bonus to dodge. And in later versions of Palladium, it was just raw speed. It was just how fast you move. That's all it was. Why was that changed? Generally, where speed used to give you a bonus, and then it changed over to just no, it's just how fast you run. Shut up. Do you know why that was changed?
Yes.
Oh, please.
Oh, you want me to answer?
I'd love
to. It was funny because some people did reach out and say it was an initiative bonus, and then Kevin and I, we went through. I'm like, I don't remember that, but I didn't have that copy, right? Mine's second edition or whatever,
sure.
or whatever the later printing was after they relayed it out. It was there was a speed bonus to dodge, and I get. The basic idea is the faster something's moving, the more difficult it is to hit, I think was the original concept. Now, Kevin intentionally took, I've seen besides having this chat with Kevin, we went and pulled out we have a workroom where there's copies that he literally wrote in notes of remove this, change this, update that, in red pen in the book, right? Before they did the new version. And the thing is that it's that he decided to, especially with Heroes Unlimited, to approach the difficulty to hit like a speedster or something with super speed from the other direction of more of like penalties to hit them, or bonuses to dodge straight from that. Because just because I can run in a flat out sprint faster than you doesn't mean that I'm going to dodge out of the way of a locomotive any faster than you. That's more about physical prowess. So I think that was the main concept there. So initially we were going to put that in, and then we decided, you know what, let's not do that. So
it didn't make practical sense.
Right. And I get where they're going.
Yeah,
because you have to remember, Palladium was on the scene very early. We're talking, 1985. If someone was printed in 1985, then that means it was being worked on at least a year before that, right? So that's where you have to just understand that some of this is, now it might seem a really logical design decision, but that was a very early, there's a lot of early experimentation in the role-playing sphere and gaming sphere on the best way to handle that. What angles or approaches do you use, right? Like, because you can give penalties to some things or bonuses or whatever, and in later books, there's like, if it's moving this fast, you might have a penalty. In relative speed, you have a penalty to hit. Different, and there's a lot. I'm just talking in general about role-playing games, right? So that's the reason that was originally in there, but then it was, hey, let's reconsider this specific approach. We think we can do this a little bit better.
Okay. Like Max is playing a Palladium fantasy game where high speed gives you what bonus?
Initiative. He pulled it
Initiative
straight from the little cheat sheet that Sean showed him for
Right.
for TMNT, the new TMNT.
Right. And initially, he and I were on the same page. That sounds awful. Because initiative is so important in Palladium combat. And he's played it now for what, 3 sessions, 4 sessions?
3, yeah.
3 sessions. And from what he's telling me, he's softened on it a little.
I still don't like it because I'm still of the mindset that initiative is so it's like number of attacks per round. It's just so one of those things that it can be so important. The caveat to that is my character's got a speed of 30 because he won't let me have my 33. So 30's max. Longbowman with a speed of 30. And that gives a +5 to the initiative. And I'm still so I roll a 9 and it's a 14. Well, his NPCs rolled an 18 and got a 21. So at the same time, it's a pretty big bump, and I still see it as, I agree with Heathen Dog. He who controls the initiative, basically he who goes first controls the fight in Palladium, especially if you use the maneuvers like you should, things like knockdown and things that will stun people that a lot of folks forget about. That initiative really can start and end a fight pretty quickly. So I definitely wasn't sold at first. Now I'm like, yeah, I've softened because it did affect the fight, but it wasn't in such a manner that, well, unless you got a 7 initiative, you can't play. Where I would argue that if you have that 2 extra attacks, you basically win. It's not like that with the initiative side. So yeah, I've softened on it. I'm still not a huge fan of it, but I've softened on it. I don't think it ruins the game. Let's put it that way. Like I thought it was going to, but. Hope you're muted.
Sorry. Yeah, it's one of those things where I agree. It's well, and because it was odd to me because I had multiple fans reach out and say that specific permutation of it was an initiative bonus, and then I was like, where is this? And so yeah, Kevin and I went back and looked through and we're like, this is not, I think this is some sort of misremembering, or maybe some people at house ruled it because they didn't like the dodge bonus. I don't know. But to be an initiative bonus instead of a dodge bonus. But yeah, I do think that initiative is super important in Palladium, especially with the action reaction system. And although it's not quite as bad as a system that allows you to take like 3 actions at once. Where it's more I go, you go, because it is an interleaved round robin kind of thing. But that is one of the things that is really important to us is we put, I think I mentioned, we put a lot of attention to exactly how we're specifying the just determining initiative in general, because long range, surprise attacks, sneak attacks, I mean, generally, ambushes, or attacks from unperceived assailants. We can maybe put it that way. That's a huge deal, and that should be a huge deal. And sometimes the game master just needs to decide if someone, has murder in their heart or whatever, or just makes the first move. They're going to probably have the initiative unless everyone else was on guard and ready or watching them carefully, right? So, but again, that's when the Palladium system is meant to be a storytelling system, a narrative system, and so that can be pretty subjective for the game master. And I could see a game master saying, "Okay, well, he's going first because he just reared out and punched this guy. Everyone else roll initiative." I think there's a lot of different ways you can handle things at the table. Now, the way that we're doing it with this edition, to me, I don't know if that kind of like, here's another option is going to be in there, because to me, that's kind of like a system change instead of a clarification. But we're trying to be really careful with that line. But yeah, we are trying to make this stuff really easy for the game master and players to get a better grasp on how all of it should be done, because I don't think it should always just be random. Right. I think that's important too.
One of the you're probably not intentionally, but you're kind of tap dancing around something that I've been saying a lot. I've been over saying it intentionally when talking about Palladium books. Is number one, it's a framework. It's not an encyclopedia of rules. Like, so when people start talking about, what about this rule? What about this rule? What about you're the game master. Play it how you think it should be. If you ask Kevin, how should I handle this situation? We should probably respond back, How do you think you should handle it at your table? And because I mean, we've asked those questions a bunch of times, and you and Kevin like to give that response. And I think that's an appropriate response, more appropriate in Palladium than many other games. It's a framework. It gives you the ability to make those decisions in the game that you want. If you decided you want speed to be initiative, great, it's initiative. If you decide you want speed to be something weird like I don't know, I parry faster, I get more parries per round because of speed or something like that, then you can do that at your table. And it gets really hard. People will be like, no, I want clarification. It's like, it's not meant to be clarified. It's meant to be a framework. Plus 10 for this, plus 20 for that. If you think it fits in the middle there, give them a plus 15 and move on.
Well, yeah, and we have now part of it, and I appreciate that, right? And I think that is really important. You have to, come, especially when it maybe has that idea was more common back 2 generations ago, right? In the late, the early stages of role playing, when there were a lot less games and a lot of game masters who played games, you could have a totally different experience going to 4 different DMs or GMs or whatever. Now you've just got this glut of games, and so it's kind of like, okay, well, what is this game designed? What specific experience is this game designed to bring to the table? And I think it's, part of this is an environmental, but also a kind of cultural difference. And I noticed that a lot. I think, tell me if I'm repeating something boring, but we noticed this a lot with Rifts for Savage Worlds. People wanted to know, what are the setting rules you use for Savage Rifts? Exactly how do you run it, right? And they wanted to run it that way. And I was surprised, and not surprised, but it's taken it. But I was a little surprised at how much people would. And now that's also a testament to they really like the way the cake was baked or the cookies were made, right? And so, there is that is one of the things that Kevin and I do want to do, is we are trying to provide a little bit more of those guidelines and clear guidance to help the game master get to that spot, especially for newer players and game masters, or people who haven't played in a while, or someone who was a player and then now his kids are in college and he wants to run a game with them, and he used to play Rifts with his buddies all the time, but he was a player and now he's the GM, and or not Rifts or TMNT, whatever, right? We do want to make sure that that's a little easier and more accessible, and also sometimes things just get lost in translation. You can say, oh, make it cinematic, but if you haven't read a whole bunch of Kevin's GM advice and spread across a whole bunch of different books, it may be harder for you to put together.
You got to wing it. Yeah.
Oh, that comes up a lot with us. I kind of vented about that last week's RPG Digest, where it's like, I don't want to say I'm annoyed. I don't know what the word I want to use. It's just I expect it. It's just a little frustrating when it's like, all right, so in Ninjas and Super Spies, there's no rule for this. Oh, you got to go to Rifts page 92. I'm not talking about Rifts. Oh, but if you go into Rifter number 33, they explain that I don't have every Rifter. I'm not buying these books, like I'm looking, the rule isn't in Ninjas and Super Spies, so I handle it a certain way. Well, no, Max, you need to go over to Beyond the Supernatural. It tells you how to do it. How do you not know that? Okay, but I'm still doing it yeah, I don't have that book, and I'm still doing it my way, and that's okay, because Palladium is a framework. It's built the house for me. I get to put the painting up on the inside how I want.
Well, and the other thing is Palladium. Kevin hasn't done the Edition Wars thing, right? So it's,
and you have 40 years of books,
right? And there's and I'm not trying to like dog on anybody. I love the Chaosium guys; they're great guys. But they have high number of their current edition of Call of Cthulhu. I don't think that's
7
necessarily bad. So, but at the same time, I mean, that's kind of who has 12 unique intellectual properties, the majority of them with 5+ source books, right? So that's kind of this, and it's slowly evolved, and it can be pretty interestingly different when you go look at exactly how this was phrased in this book, and then this this next edition or the next game that was published, how they may have tried to update things to clarify something that wasn't clear in the previous edition, right? And so that can be tough. And so, and again, this is part of why we're actually putting extra elbow grease into the Redux edition of TMNT. is we're trying to make this maybe like, a good place. I was really happy to hear actually that you were like, oh, let me try this thing out that they put out in that preview image. I think that's great, right? Because we are trying to bring something to the table that we think will bring value to a lot of gamers.
Well, that was Bear. That's it. It's Bear's game.
Okay, cool. So anyways, I guess that's all I've got to say about that.
No, but I think ultimately we're on the same page with that, where it's like I agree with you. Being more clear and doing the editing pass that you're doing can only help, especially when it comes to the new gamers. One of the things that I personally want to express to the new gamers is stop trying to look up every rule. Even if you make a mistake today and find out that you've been playing it wrong, you can either keep doing the mistake and say this works for my table, or you can update it. You don't have to get this weird 100%. Oh, hold on, it's got to. Well, he says this. Well, he said. You're the game master. Just do what goes right for your table and move on. I like the idea that every Palladium game I sit in is a little bit different. I have to understand what those differences are, but it is a little bit different. That makes the worlds feel different, broader, better. I think it's a good thing, but it's still Palladium. I'm still rolling percentile dice for the skills. I'm still rolling a D20 for the attacks. I still, got the OCCs in there. It's great balance, and I want people to understand that it's okay to be different in that regard.
Yeah. I mean, every game falls on the range in between simulationist and cinematic. There's somewhere in there. Mm-hmm. Palladium's more cinematic, whereas BattleTech would be hyper simulation.
In role-playing terms, Pathfinder.
Yeah, Pathfinder, yeah. And hyper creative would be like Fate Core, whatever, stuff like that. But Palladium is a little too far cinematic for a lot of new players, in my opinion.
Yeah,
because it doesn't have centralized rules for all of its games work with each other, mm-hmm. But you have to fiddle with the bits a little bit to get it to work.
Well, and it also doesn't support the type of tactical combat that I think, as part of the subset of tabletop gaming, where the most popular section of that is board games and card gaming. Those are very specific. They're very detailed. They're using keywords. The movement combat rules are very explicit. That is the game, right?
Well, they're also competing with each other. So having that nuance, having that specificity, I get, but when it's more collaborative, I don't know. I just don't.
I'm just saying when people come from that environment to a Palladium game, right? And then they're like, well, how do I move my miniature?
Well, true enough.
And that wasn't necessarily the original idea, right? So that's just that we're trying to, to use a design term, we're trying to provide affordance, scaffolding, so that, like for instance, now there's going to be there's a table, as you've seen, with here's how far you can move as an action. According to your speed. So that we are doing little things like that I don't think are, some huge change that should be some totally separate or weird new edition of.
You ruined my game by adding in.
It's just trying to catch it within the Redux framework of, it's different, but it should be just a really smooth thing to integrate. It's a fine line to walk sometimes.
But what I tell people is like, oh no, Palladium is too wishy-washy for me. I'm like, okay, I get it. The easiest thing to do is to avoid what the people talking to Max do. Like, oh, well, if you're playing Heroes Unlimited and you want clarification in this rule, go over to Rifts or go over to Beyond the Supernatural. You'll find it there. No, you'll find the answer for that game in there. This is the game you're playing, all right? Focus and concentrate. And if it's not in there, then you as a game master, you have to make a ruling, and then you move on. And that's it.
Yeah, you do. And what I do with my buddies, because sometimes, just my little thing, keeping the fun rolling, and this might have been a Kevin thing that he suggested. It could have come from BattleTech, because I played a lot of that, was we would just, if we couldn't figure out a rule, but we wanted the story to keep flowing, we would roll 50-50, 4+ on a D6 or something. It went the way, but then after the session, we would go hit the books and rules lawyer it out and
Mm-hmm.
make a decision of whatever was going to happen at my table.
Have a friendly wager. Who was right?
And we were poor, so but yeah, no, I mean, no, we usually it was in the end, it was whatever happened in the game was the story, right? And so
Yeah.
I think if you have that kind of attitude and focus on it, just make sure everybody has a good time and everybody gets to have the storytelling that they want, and that is a little bit different idea than other role-playing games out there,
right?
They focus the rewards aren't, the XP necessarily isn't based on role playing, right?
Oh God, no XP in Palladium games, it's almost meaningless. I mean, I can't wait to get a level 50. You're not going to get a level 15 anything. You shut up.
Well, you don't get it for killing stuff or gold or whatever.
No,
right?
You're still not ever going to get it. You got to play for like 8 years to get
that too. But I'm just saying, in general, the rewards come from different types of activity within
good
the narrative.
ideas that didn't pan out. Still a
reward. So that's just another thing that can be tough for people that are coming from a different paradigm to really grok, I think. Mm-hmm. And then that's okay. That's okay. But we are aware of that. We are trying to make again, provide some affordance where we can. And it makes sense to do.
Well, I think TMNT is the best of all those worlds to make that happen. It's not a big thick game like Rifts is, unless you're going to turn it into that, which I hope you don't. It's a great place to start. You're modernizing it. It's an IP people can understand. You don't even have to play Turtles. You go play Ninjas. Or you can go play Shoot Out the OK Corral with it. I mean, it can be so many things because of what's in that book, but it isn't complex at the same time. It's a great starting place for this.
It is. No, I absolutely agree. And it's funny, some people perceive Kevin as he just likes it how it is. No, I mean, Kevin's wanted to do a lot of this type of stuff. And now that, he's got me in as part of the Brain Trust, because, Eric Wujcik passed away. Mm-hmm. And that was a big part of his design Brain Trust and stuff like that. So, and some of this is time to focus on things. I mean, this is the great thing about having, some people say, why does Palladium need to do a Kickstarter? Most people, I think, understand that, why we do crowdfunding. At our size, that's very common in the industry. But it also allows us to be able to take the time to focus on stuff like this and make sure we can put out a really, really killer product. So next question.
Awesome. The next question, unless Heathen Dog has one, actually goes on to the next topic. And that would be, now this one's going to be a little more difficult, but I said I'd do it, so I'm going to do it, especially since there's only 9 days left. And this is talking about the Valley of the Pharaohs. Now, a lot of people don't know about this. I knew of the name. That's it. But this is one of the early Palladium products. And it was funny to hear Kevin talk about this on Glitter Boys about how people didn't want historical accurate type settings. They want more of the fantasy. You'd think that this would sell because, it's Egypt. Everybody loves Egypt, but it just didn't do that well. And I thought about it. I'm like, now that you think about it, I had a couple games that were relatively historically accurate or were based on historical accuracy when it came to Egypt. Because I used to be big into Egyptology in the 90s, and none of them sold. None of them were popular. I couldn't get anybody to play them, So he's right. I mean, let's use another one. It's a role-playing game. Reality aside, Nephilim. It was all the rage in the 90s was to do tarot cards and read all about alternative religions and so forth. And
Nephilim was just a bad game.
Not really.
Poorly put together.
No, Innomine was the bad game.
Oh,
Nephilim,
yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I confused it. Innomine was the bad game.
And Nephilim was Chaosium.
Yep.
So, but anyway, but it made I just really, he's right. He's right on this one. But let's see if we can turn the tide a little bit here. So first of all, already funded, so that's good. But only 9 days to go. I don't know a lot about this game. Sean, do you know a lot about this game or no?
I don't know a lot. Like you said, it was heavily researched. Kevin wrote, I believe, a lot of it, as well as Matt Ballant. And Matt Ballant, I mean, he's the guy that was the mastermind behind the Weapons and Armor series of books, which was Palladium's first, big sleeper hit that people just didn't realize was as popular as it was. it sold a lot of like I forget some crazy number of copies. But it was flying off like hotcakes back in AD&D, right? When there was there was no internet. You didn't know what a this or that or what's a halberd versus a bardiche versus a whatever. So that's and then they were making a push to get into bookstores as box sets again. More you see, actually, this is actually playing out right now, right, where box sets for role-playing games is making things very approachable in the mass market at, say, like Target or Barnes and Noble or whatever, or on Amazon. So this was part of a similar kind of market push. And I think that, I don't know if it was just that Valley of the Pharaohs was going to do bad no matter what, or if it was just that in that format, trying to fit that space is where it didn't do well. You'd have to talk to Kevin more about the vagaries there, because I remember I found BattleTech through the BattleTech compendium at a bookstore, and then later on went and bought. I was like, oh, I need all this other stuff, and I went and bought. It had all the rules and the mech, the battle mech building rules, but then I had to go buy the BattleTech box set, which was great. Game of Armored Combat with the Warhammer on the front. So, but yeah, that may have done well in situations like that, whereas Valley of the Pharaohs did not. And so I don't think it was anything about the content or the quality of the content itself. So
I mean, it is hard to compete against giant stompy robots shooting lasers at people. I'm just saying.
Right, that's the thing. Or do I want to play, a serf in Egypt?
You're right.
A reed farmer in Egypt. I mean, I don't know. So, but at the same time, I think it's so cool what the concept, just the concept, the execution, and knowing Matt and Kevin's attention to detail and the research they put into things. I think I haven't read it, but because I don't know if we have any copies here. But I think it'll be really cool, and it might blow some people's minds about the kind of accuracy that's in there.
Well, we'll take a look at what's changed, because he's updated a few things as well. So it's not just the same old game. It's been updated a little bit. We're not going to read the whole thing here, but you know what I should do? I should put this into chat. If it is something that you're interested in, there's a link to it there, and let me get it over here as well. All right. Written and produced by Matt Ballant, licensed from Palladium Books. Extensive revisions, additions, new maps, and new artwork. The original 1983 edition is still available from DriveThruRPG, so why copy it when we can expand upon it? If you want the original, you can get it there. Available in softbound, hardbound versions, and fully funded. You can actually get the game rulebook right now from. I don't know if this is a game I want to play. Well, go get the rulebook from itch.io, and gives the background there. Very similar to any of the art that you would see from any game in the 70s and 80s at that time. Like when I saw this, I was like, this is exactly like what I would see on the shelf at Schindler's or the Source up there in Maplewood and wasn't Falcon Heights in Minneapolis, Minnesota. 40th edition is an expansion and reimagining of the original 1983 box set. But it says it uses the same rule system. I read that earlier. It uses the same rule system, though. Remastered version has many of the same concepts of the original, but is greatly expanded as far as the character, racial, and cultural backgrounds are concerned. Many new skills and magic spells, extensive information on governmental, societal, and religious organizations. Very great game for to play the whole politics side of stuff if you want to do it in an Egyptian format, which, again, everybody loves ancient Egypt. I just don't see those games selling. I don't understand it. Now, this could be the one that breaks that mold, though. Players choose as human or non-human characters, animal forms similar to ancient Egyptian gods. That's right. You could play a TMNT character in here. Hey, I'm going to be an ibis. Nobility, clergy, bureaucracy, and common. Characters may be heroic in nature, but backgrounds encompass everyone from low to high born. So you're not just playing a simplistic character sheet. I mean simplistic in a good way, by the way. You can look at it, you can reference it, and you can just keep on playing. 8 races. You can read what they're... can I zoom in on that a little bit better? There you go. Based on, obviously, Egyptian drawings and hieroglyphics. I'm not going to read them because I'll probably say them wrong and somebody will get mad at me. Extensive background choices for either individual characters or the party as a whole. These can affect skill starting items, renown of the group. Players can choose occupational specialties out of over 120. So you can be 120 different things. That's a lot for Egypt. Magic is an integral part of ancient Egyptian existence and belief system. That'd be interesting to see because I have I used to, I don't anymore, but I used to have a lot of old Egyptian spell books written in the hieroglyphics and so forth. Or they're more prayers than they were spell books, but you get what I'm saying. So I wonder how based on actual Egyptian it is. That would interest me. There you go. Egyptian magic wands because they like their phalluses. What's that?
Oh, I said they look cool, but I
Yeah.
didn't think Palace. Maybe.
I let's be honest, it was an Egyptian thing. More art. This looks very, very. I could expect to see this in a D&D basic book, so it's very nostalgic there. Multi-dimensional realms. This is the one that actually surprised me. Within the world of the Valley of Pharaohs are many dimensions, including Duat, Field of Reed, the Land of the Gods, and others. The West. When you die, you go to the West, and you're not a happy person. Many creatures and demons inhabit these realms, some helpful and some friendly. Some as agents of chaos. I can't read. Even the gods may be interacted with, as Egyptians had over 2,000 manifestations of these powerful beings. I would correct that statement if I was pedantic, but I won't. The Duat was the initial realm of every Egyptian sought to enter, but merely as a transitional destination. We could go on, but you get the idea. It's based. These dimensions are based on Egyptian myth. So check that out. Let's go see real quickly. We're not going to go into worldview. Again, it's trying to show that it's historically accurate as much as a game can be. So we respect that. Let's check this out. What can we do? Okay, $1. We don't want that. Okay, physical and PDF both together for $40. That's actually a very reasonable price. Physical and PDF book and PDF guides, $50. What's the difference there? Quick guides, combat, skills, magic. Physical copy of the book. So that's just a book. Oh, okay. So there also includes the quick guides. Now, I don't know if that's a helpful guide or if it's like a quick start or if it's like a what do we call those books? You had the core rule book that had all the rules, but then you had like the quick version of the rules that you could just the reference sheet basically. Wonder if that's what that is. Retail package $60. 3 copies of the book must provide business documentation. Look at that. Retailers only have to pay $60, but that's the lowest I've ever seen for retailers. For any Kickstarter ever. Hardbounds with bonus pages, $65. Remember, hardbound paper costs a lot now for some reason. So does shipping. 2 copies of the book's PDF. Collector set. There we go. 1 hardcover, 1 softcover, all the PDF files, everything you could ever want. At least going to come with this game. And shipping to be determined at fulfillment, which is normal. And 3 copies. So basically, hey, do I get to buy his head?
He's angry looking. So angry.
Game with the author. That's not anger. That's seriousness. Nice seriousness.
He's a very nice guy.
For $400, you can game with him for 4 hours. There you go.
$100 an hour. That's pretty good hourly rate.
You know what? I know. Well, I know of professional DMs, and some get paid like a pizza. Others get paid a lot. I'm in the wrong gig. Anyway, and major supporter game with the author. You can see these other ones on here as well. $5,000, $1,000. Anyway, Kevin sent me a message. He's really proud of this. I also heard what he said on Glitter Boys. He's really proud of this. Obviously, Sean, I'm not going to put Sean on the spot because he doesn't know as much about this as Kevin would, of course. But, there's nothing but good things to say about this. So it did make its funding goal, but I'd like to see if we could give it a little bit more here. Maybe push it to, let's see, what are those prices? It's 6,000. I think that folks in our chat here could possibly push that to 6,000, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, just to add on to that, I mean, Kevin and I it says written by Matt Ballon. I don't know if Kevin was more on the editing and design side of certain things, but I know that he did a lot of work on it, a lot of research, and his project, a big project. I'd love for him too to be a part of that. So yeah, I think any fan of Palladium books would really enjoy this, Yeah, Matt's a real great guy too, and he's been Kevin's friend since the beginning and been there at the inception. So especially if you like the Weapons and Armor series of books, he's one of those people that helped bring that realism. It's funny because we're talking of Palladium as in this. It's more of this narrative, less like simulationist, but at the same time, a lot of research. went into and goes into Palladium products. And you know, a lot of people are shocked to see, like when you're talking about the contemporary weapons book, right? The penetration values and class whatever armor. I mean, that's real. That's real world numbers brought into a role playing game. You know, and so that's. I think it's interesting though that you know Kevin's thought this was too realistic, but at the same time it has all these fantastic elements and it dives into all of that. But maybe the other thing is sometimes when you present something, that cover art, the text on the back of a box, I mean, that's so important. Literally, you don't know what's in the box, right? And that's the thing
until
that
you flip it over and read this box includes.
If the cover art had a different tactic to it, and a different maybe a different style, and the back you know, information had been different, would it have sold completely differently with the exact same thing inside the box? I think that's very possible. So just to throw that out there.
I got you. I'm kind of torn on the cover of the art for this, because part of me says, you know what? I love the fact that it's stuck with the original, has the original look, intent. It's definitely nostalgic, but I'm wondering if something like that would attract a modern, like what you guys would do with TMNT. Yeah, you kept the theme of the original art, but you kind of gave it something that might attract a more modern feel, I guess you'd say. Because this is definitely an old school feel. When I see this, I'm like, oh, that game was made in 1981. Like, you can just look at it and see that. And that's not bad for me, but I'm just wondering if that, you know, for...
And that's kind of, it just depends on different strokes, different folks. I mean, I know a lot of people that for them is probably a really big selling point, right? To have something that's straight OG like that. So
yeah, no, absolutely.
I think if you're interested, check it out. I mean, it's like you said, it's not like this is something that's going to break the bank for a lot of fans, right?
Exactly. It is funny you say that, because in we have the occasional argument, discussion in on Discord, and I'm one of those guys where I'll rail on art. Like, that sucks. No, dude, if you can do better, you draw. But art doesn't help me buy a book. Believe it or not, I'm the guy that I'll play the game. I want to know what it's about. Where other people in the chat will, if they hate the art, they won't buy the book. And if that was the case, then two of my favorite games I would never buy. I'd never, like Earth Dawn. I'm sorry, but Lubenstein is not a good artist. But the art in Earth Dawn is horrible. But the game gives me enough. Palladium has much better art than that. Palladium writes so well, and Earth Dawn, to be fair, writes so well that the images are just baked into my brain anyway, so I don't need the art to help sell it. So, art to me isn't something that's going to make or break one. At the same time, when people are like, AD&D first edition art, and I don't expect you to jump in on this, but is better than second. No, you do not get better than Elmore, Parkinson, Easley, and Caldwell. You just don't. Okay. Earl Otis, yeah, he looks like refrigerator art. It's nostalgic. It's thematic. I get it, but no, I'm sorry, that's not Elmore. But all right,
Are we going to get to the chat and Discord questions now?
Yeah, well, let me make sure I covered everything. I was sent a list. Okay, yep. Actually, that is where we are now.
Right.
I have a whole not script, but I have note cards that I got, and I've got a whole document here that's got questions. Plus, some of them have been repeated in chat as well.
Could be. And the first one is the $20 one, which you broke your own rules. We should have talked about a long time ago.
No. The reason why I held that one off is because that was going to be Q&A.
I lied. No one cares. All right. If only for a few days before returning home, how would Master Splinter be changed if he arrived on Rift's Earth? That is interesting, but I think it's in the rules for the most part. But how would these general anthropomorphic animals that don't have, say, armor rating or whatever, that would instantly turn into MDC or some other nonsense like that, but regular animals like Splinter, that was dumb. Mutated animals like Splinter and others moving into a high magic environment, normally some changes would take place. But for Splinter specifically, what would you imagine one or two of those things would be?
Okay, this is a fun question to me because I love Splinter, and especially the OG Splinter from the comics. I think I would imagine his intellect and his mental powers, he would become like some Zen master. And I think he would just, it would mean that he would become, some demigod in combat. Even if he returned, right? I think he would be forever changed by just maybe that mutagen mixing with what he encounters on Rift's Earth. It just might bring him to a higher level of consciousness. Kind of like a crazy gets all boosted with the different brain chemistry. Mm-hmm. I could see Splinter just kind of like turning into, because he's already such a master of whatever can be done at the quote unquote normal human biological level. I would just imagine. I mean, to me, that's what I would imagine. I don't know. I mean, maybe he'd turn into some big giant glop monster.
Probably not that. I would imagine not that. But your whole thing is that the mutagen reaction amplified by magic would increase one or two of the main things the mutagen increased before. Like Splinter is obviously base level smarter than many of the other mutant animals out there, right? He's just plain old smarter, and he's more thoughtful, calm. So going to Rift's Earth, it would increase his intelligence, increase his mental endurance. Physically, what do you think? I wouldn't say stronger, because rats don't really go stronger, but faster, maybe.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking faster. I mean, I kind of imagine, because look, do you think that the average cyber knight has better training in those type of esoteric mysteries and meditation and stuff like that than Splinter? I think he could challenge any cyber knight. So to me, that would be, that's the question. How would that manifest exactly? I mean, that's
psionic abilities instead of raw intelligence boost. Maybe psionic abilities now.
That's what I'm saying because of his mastery over his mind,
right?
I think, and his very high IQ, I think it would lead to some sort of like consciousness expansion, and who knows what that could mean, right? And then you combine that kind of greater just awareness and Zen type stuff with increased physical speed and or stamina. Yeah, I think he'd become something really cool. But that's just me. You do what you want to do. I mean, if you want to turn into some weird, brain rat monster like in what was that, Fallout 1? There was like the mole rat king thing that's psychic.
Now, I do have to tell everyone that there are conversion books, and in the first conversion book, there is a section specifically for TMNT and other strangeness, just like there is a section for Beyond the Supernatural, Palladium Fantasy, stuff like that, to convert over to Rifts. Now, is it an end-all, be-all guide? No, of course not. It is not. You're not going to hit every scenario in that, but it'll give you the direction that you need to go to not make a horrible mistake. So I recommend getting that.
Well, no, hold on, no.
Sorry.
Because the reason why I was waiting on that comment, because it was in our thing. So when he posted that on YouTube, I responded back because I don't have any stats for Splinter, and to me he's just a mutant rat. I'm like, well, better find some MDC armor pretty quickly, because really, when you get converted over into Rifts and you're just a mutant animal, you're just a mutant animal. You're just a DB.
Unless you have natural armor.
Right. Unless you have natural armor, which a rat doesn't have, or you've got psychic powers, which I tried to look up, and he's not in here, so I don't know if he has psychic powers in here.
But if you look at the mutants, the superhero mutants in Heroes Unlimited, and maybe applied some of those powers to your base Master Splinter, and then converted him using the conversion book, maybe that would be a more accurate representation. I mean, it's all up to the game master to decide. I mean,
right. John. I want you to, with a straight face, tell me that Splinter is not an ancient master. Go. Try it.
Okay. By using this game, he's not an ancient master because it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. Yeah, but man,
if you want to know, like you on the Heroes Unlimited route, I would agree he's an ancient master. Absolutely.
He would be the poster boy. It would be a dictionary. Who is an ancient master? Splinter's face right there. That's what it would be.
Does the ancient master all of a sudden grow MDC?
The ancient master has the ability to positive chi up his body and have supernatural strength.
Okay, if we're playing Heroes Unlimited, I'm not going to disagree with you at all.
Into MDC, he can do
I just
all
went
that
with
crap.
this book
awesome.
because this is TMNT and he was talking about Splitter. I don't care.
I know. But hey, you know what? As the game master, you can make liberties like that, especially because the TMNT conversion book text isn't anywhere near as complete as Heroes Unlimited, Palladium Fantasy.
Okay, you just want to convert everything over to the game you like instead of the real game. I get it.
No,
it's okay.
I like Heroes Unlimited better than Rift. Shut up. It's true.
You guys should do a separate episode about this.
There you go. Yeah, we should move on.
Okay, let's do this. Let's do the super chat then, real quickly. So, Bear the Gen X GM, who's the Society for Role Playing Gamers, and now the Zenith Comic Books person. What's the next thing you're going to call yourself, sir? He says, "Thank you for the shout." Yeah, Sean Kevin did shoot him. Shout him out for his heroic. If you guys haven't backed heroic yet, you got like 2 months.
Yeah, we're happy to. We if we got people we know and you're doing something we think it looks cool, we're happy to shout it out. You're not my uncle.
I have no idea what that means.
I don't know what that means.
I have no idea. I put it up there though because it was fun.
What's cool. Oh, I wanted to give another shout out. I put this out in the last weekly update as the closing thoughts I wrote. I know there's a lot of Savage Worlds crossover and Savage Rift fans and stuff in your viewership, and I did a lot of work on the early version 16. I think was the last one that I worked on of the sci-fi companion. For Savage
man,
Worlds.
we were supposed to talk about that.
That's okay. It's the first one, and I was just going to mention it real quick. It was the first. That was when it was initially. It was the first of the companion books. So people that don't know Savage Worlds, there's a core rule book, then they'll have like a horror companion, a science fiction companion, fantasy companion, superhero or superpowers companion. So with the sci-fi companion, it's going to be going to the Pledge Manager soon. But one of the things that Shane wanted me to do was make sure that it would be playing well with. I also designed the vehicle guide for the Adventure Edition of Savage Worlds, which it's more of a conversion guide, but tells you, how things would scale up in the Savage World system for vehicles and stuff like that, their size and damage they can take and stuff like that. So, this is a really cool book. I was really excited to see that, a lot of the ideas that I put in there were still there. The numbers still all line up very nicely. They've done some really cool stuff with it if you're a fan of Savage Worlds. In general, I think it's going to have a lot for people to enjoy. And then the other thing that I thought was really fun is I had written some, basically some advice on how to play different types of science fiction, like hard sci-fi or space opera, or I called Star Trek like high sci-fi, where you have matter to energy conversion, right? Stuff like that. So there's a military sci-fi. There's a lot of stuff like that in the book as well. I hope that people can get some mileage out of it and check it out if you just want to see something a project that I helped work on, or if you're just a fan of Savage Worlds or Savage Rifts, you might get some good times out of that too, because there's a lot of neat stuff it does with starships and crews and all that kind of stuff in that system. So,
So military sci-fi. When can I sit in a game of Battlelords of the 23rd Century run by Sean Roberson?
Starship Troopers, baby.
I've never played Battlelords. It looks cool, but I've never played it. So
don't get the current edition of the game. Get 4th or 6th edition.
No.
But
4th or 6th. That's the way it is.
7th is first of all, it's just not well written. But anyway, that's cool. So I put the link also into. Hopefully, I remember to put all these things in the description later. But I put it in chat there so people can check it out. So yeah, I'm sorry about that. I know I was supposed to put that on the screen. I didn't do that. So it was there now.
Here's another one. Now, first blush, it would say no.
You don't have an order for these questions, right?
I don't have an order.
Well, I know we do. We have a theme for the questions.
Well, I don't do themes. All right, here we go. At first blush, this may seem like something that is ridiculous. Sit on it for 2 seconds before you have a reaction, okay? Is Paramount open to a Rifts movie? Now, I believe we've passed the point where Rifts movie is possible and will look good. because of CGI advancements, all that stuff. It'll look good. That's the main problem with Rift's ideas in the past. It was going to look like crap, but it'll look good. But writing it and getting the right feel could be the problem. Do you think that this could be successfully pitched? Okay, hang on.
Yeah, of course. I think that it could. I think that, but I mean, could a Riffs movie be successfully pitched and written and be something awesome? Yes. Is Paramount open to it? It depends on what you mean by Paramount. So, like for instance, we're talking to Paramount Publishing. Some of the stuff that we're doing crosses over with, say, what Paramount's games division. We're also getting things approved through their subsidiary, or I guess their subsidiary, their Nickelodeon. So Paramount's like this massive
multi-armed conglomerate monster. Yeah.
Like from the dark abyss. Yeah. So I mean that in a positive way. But I don't know. That's a great question. I have no idea. And in fact, that's not even. Maybe I'm weird or dumb, or I'm just too focused on Ninja Turtles. But that thought hadn't even crossed my mind. So. Wow. So that's just the honest answer. I mean, Kevin and I are really focused on putting out great books products.
Well, how about this? Picture this: John Wick as a juicer.
Oh, I can picture that.
Oh yeah, I could go hardcore on that all day.
I mean, Kevin and I saw the last John Wick together. We definitely talked about juicers and definitely. Right. So,
and the next one we have is this is one of the ones that Max was talking about. When is this coming out? When is that coming out? But this one is not a future product. It's a product that's now-ish, but in the PDF version. This one is Titan Robotics PDF. Is there going to be a separate buy-in for this? Like you buy it just the PDF?
I think it's out.
Do you have this already?
I think it's out. I think we just released it like.
Okay.
That it's just about to be.
This is weird.
Yeah, I mean, it might be on drive-through right now. If it's not, the plan is very soon. Sorry, like we're doing so much. We talk about. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, Malachi. Okay. That's good. That's good. All right, and the last one that I have right now is more for me than anything else. I have no idea what the Chill Gamer was talking about. I have no context on this, but I like to put this up on screen as many times as possible during a show. There it is. That's all I wanted to do.
No context.
I have no context for that, but it's true. It's a true statement. It should be said by many people across hilltops and stuff. So there you go. All right, Max. So what do we have?
I can run my show now?
Yeah. What about Discord questions?
Well, there's more than just Discord questions. So going back to the TMNT stuff, because wanted to kind of finish up with that. And so, oh my God, I asked for a theme of questions, and yes, as Heathen Dog already noted, and I noted earlier, it's going to be a lot toward the end of when's this product coming out, when's that product coming out. I know what the canned answer is. That's why I put them all together. So, but going back to TMNT, how versed are you in the Terror Bears?
Fairly.
Okay, which one's the scariest?
I mean,
it's a personal question, so you can answer.
I don't know. That's what I was going to say. The creepy thing about them is, it's like, have you ever? Most people have done babysitting at some point, right? And just the idea of like these three, killer bear things with the psychic powers and the emotional range of a toddler is pretty terrifying.
And you have psychic toddlers that can talk to each other through with telepathy. If I remember correctly, their powers weren't all the same, even though when you make psychic characters as a team, they're supposed to be.
Each one is different.
Yeah, except for that they could talk to each other. Yes. No, they're scary. I used them only 1-2 times. No, I did use them a couple times, and every time I had to actually backtrack on their ability, or I would have wiped out the party. They are just themselves. They are scary. No, I mean the one's name was a Doom Bear, so I think just by names he wins. Okay, still related to TMNT, but kind of moving off a little bit here. So time travel seems regulated specifically toward TMNT. So obviously transdimensional TMNT, it has the loops and coils. We covered that, et cetera. I don't know how much you know about that, but that's fine. But there are very, very specific rules for that. While temporal magic and rifts have limited time travel applications. Why does that difference exist?
Sorry, I had to click because they're different games.
Okay.
I don't know. One's really Eric. One's Eric. Would you explain, child? The
to be fair, a lot of these questions are probably for Kevin specifically. Because a lot of them go
Sorry.
back in the day. But
I mean, I think it. Kevin's going to want to do a lot of this stuff. He's going to be putting forward his idea, right, of how he might want to present something, I mean, again, it'd be best to ask Kevin, but I think he likes things to often be unique, and so yeah, and he probably, I mean, the other thing is he may have wanted it just to be different from what was in a licensed product, so.
Makes sense. I'm going to save the next one for sure. It's another Rifts question, but it's so specific on lore unless you wrote it. So Heathen Dog, that one that I asked you to look over, that's the one about Duskin and Lords
right.
of
Yeah.
Do you think that's appropriate for now, or that's probably for Kevin for later?
I felt him out before the show, and we're not going to get an answer that.
I do know about Dunstan and the Lord of Magic, but
okay,
really? Okay.
I couldn't answer. This dude had to write me like a 9-page essay on what this even meant, and I still didn't understand. So
the question is that while Lord Alistair had a lot of backing from very, very powerful magical figures in the creation of the Federation of Magic, when it came time for the big showdown between them and the CS, it seemed like the backing of the big three or whatever was gone. Why is that?
I don't know what Kevin might have specifically had in mind, but hey
guys, sorry,
that's all right.
Completely understandable, and
that's fine.
Yeah, but we're finishing it up. So
I just wanted to say hi and sorry.
Thank you. Thank you very much,
Kevin. All the best and love to you, man.
Yeah,
thank you. Appreciate it.
Oof. Okay.
Why is Kevin at work?
Yeah, that's weird.
Because
he's him. Yeah.
He's not actually at work. Put it that way.
Yeah.
But okay. I don't know. That I can't give an answer besides like an educated. I mean, if the fan wrote a 9-page explanation,
I'm going to save these questions for some future time, and we get it. Like if you can posit something, we'll take it for now. But we'll save a lot of these.
Know what he is. I think they know what he is, and I don't think they like him. And I think that some.
Oh no, yeah. He's batshit crazy.
I mean, let him bite off more than he can chew. Give him enough rope to hang himself. Could also be the answer there, right? Or combination of both. So that would be my guess.
Okay. All right.
I mean, yeah. Anyway.
No, I get it. I get it. This without knowledge of why they were written this way, or how he came up with their personalities, you're not going to know for sure the answer to that. And everyone understands that. But from your educated guess, from having read the material and know the people behind it, that's a completely acceptable answer. I'll take it.
I mean, I did a lot of research, for instance, like when I did when we worked on Arcana and Mysticism on Rift for Savage Worlds. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's one of those things, like I told you before when we were chatting about this before the show. I mean, when I work on Rift's books for Savage Worlds, I mean, we do a ton of research, and I do a lot of checking and have math. It's like a research paper,
right?
Quotes and page numbers and that's, to me, that's how it should be. But so there's certain things though that if I haven't written a book specifically on it, I will probably only give a very surface level answer. But there's other things that I might venture to give some ideas, but I couldn't say that's for sure why. that specific thing there. But you might ask me something I could tell you about, say, the coalition in Texas, blah, 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 why, blah, 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 blah. I might be able to answer it. So just depends on whether Kevin discussed it or I've researched it heavily.
So you've played Rifts for a long time. I'm not going to ask this question the way it was brought up. I'm gonna ask it a little bit differently again. So, did you think that Cyber Knights were ruined in the updated version of them? Apparently, there are some folks who hate the original Cyber Knight and like the current version of it, and people that hate the current version of it and only play the original version of it.
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. I mean, there was a big expansion on them in the Coalition Wars, the Cyber Knight book, and then of course what ended up in the Ultimate Edition. I always really liked them from the beginning in the original Rifts book, and it's funny you review that, and a lot of the ideas are there. There are some changes and differences. Personally, it's odd to say. I mean, I personally, just as a personal answer, I really like the original version of them quite a bit. I play this because I'm one of those people. Usually I'm the GM. I really get to play. I mean, when I play the character, I play the Cyber Knight. And for me, I always viewed the Psy Sword until you got to be like really high level as just like your backup weapon. Just like your cyber armor is like your backup weapon, and it was more about being that new person in there with trying to control their body and mind and do other stuff. The new version is really cool, and I think it's more on the power level of what people might want to see from a Cyber Knight in general, but it does cross over into some different thematic territory in different portions of it. I like all of it, though. I mean, I really like Cyber Knights, and the version ended up in Savage Rifts. Very happy with it, and have just worked to do things that expand on it. Or I really enjoyed making room in the Savage Foes of North America because I couldn't find the room in the original Tomorrow Legion Player's Guide to list the Cyber Knight code. Next to the entry for the Fallen Cyber Knights. I love the Cyber Knights, the lore, how it's expanded over time. I think Kevin's done great stuff with it. If Kevin said, Sean, people enjoyed Titan Robotics, now I want you to do a Cyber Knight, a book based on Cyber Knights and just blow it up, Secrets of the Cyber Knights or something, I would dive on that without hesitation. So.
Yeah, I don't know. Personally, I don't know enough about them. I don't even know what the changes were. Again, they tried to explain it to me. I'm like, oh. I don't get what the big deal is, but apparently that was something that folks really felt ways about. So they wanted it brought up, so I brought it up.
It was more about how they interact with, the newer version in the Rifts Ultimate Edition is more focused on the cyber is like disrupting and sensing technological weaponry and things like that. In addition to, some of the base ideas like the cyber armor, the Psy Sword, a modest list of psychic powers.
I don't know what questions we missed of yours. I got to be honest, I haven't read every word of chat, so maybe it's just bad luck.
I actually searched chat for everything he posted today, and I haven't found anything else. So it must be in a YouTube comment or Discord.
Oh, I'm not even partway through.
Yeah, we're not even partway through that one, man. So.
But if it's in chat here,
it's not here.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, so sorry. So now we're moving on to splicers. What's the thought process that led to the creation of splicers and its setting? It's not every day someone decides to mesh Terminator and a Guyver. Is that MacGyver?
No, Guyver.
That's
Guyver, like the anime.
You guys are always talking about things I don't know anything about. Okay, there we go. So Guyver, after all, and thank
Bio Booster Armor, baby.
Okay, thanks for giving us all those awesome settings to play in.
I can't answer the question but I don't know if Kevin could answer it the same way either as what it's Carmen Belair from what I understand, and it's more of a brainchild of other writers. So
Okay.
I don't know what the initial idea of combining those themes together would have been. I think it's a great thing to mesh and to have fun with, right? Because and if you take it to the extreme, I mean, nano machines and swarms, and then bio booster. I mean, they're both are becoming these like living organic things almost. It's kind of weird. So.
Yeah, I wanted to like splicers. Like when I got it, I was all hyped, like, yeah. And then don't watch our video on splicers.
I'm not a splice head, so I really haven't been able to wrap my head around splicers yet.
To me, it's too extreme, too exacting. If there's a molecule of metal, it will be taken over. It's like, I like the threat being there. I thought that was a really great idea, machines versus bio. But this whole idea that this fork is going to get you. Okay, to me, it went too far. It's like it took a great idea and went too far, because I really wanted to like it. If I were to do splicers, I mean, because I think the theme is great, I would tone it down a little bit and make the metal problem be, because I don't want to hold a worm
less
as a gun.
comical.
Yeah, less, and that whole worm gun thing, I'm like, nope, I'm out. Whatever. But the idea is fun. I'd love to just have it more like that metal could turn on you someday. That metal is going to turn on you someday. And it's like, how long can I do this before it does? I would like to have it more suspenseful, I guess you'd say. I think Heathen Dog had it right. Less comical in that regard. But other than that, it's one of those I really wanted to love, but ended up going, no. But other people, we get a lot of commentary on splicers. People really do like splicers. So, hey, if you like it, go check it out.
I will say there is something there. I mean, not every Palladium game I think that's ever come out, there's something really cool there. And there's a reason, because Kevin isn't going to publish something that he doesn't think is going to reverberate with some cool ideas for someone. And yeah, I think that's definitely true for splicers as well.
Okay, a couple more somewhat game-related questions, and we move on to more meta stuff. This one you can answer, because this is just going to be your opinion. So let's say you wanted to take ideas from not one, but two Palladium settings. Which one of your many books do you think adapt really well to one another? Of course, there's the ever-popular Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Ninjas and Super Spies. But what about, I don't know, Mechanoids and Splicers, or Nightbane and Roadhogs? What pairs do you think would be fun and exciting? And what's the oddest pair you've heard of?
What pairs would be most exciting? Well, I think you could do something really cool with, say, Beyond the Supernatural and Dead Rain. That's always seemed to me like they should be paired, and maybe even throw in Systems Failure as just another twist on the whole. And, with consequences or flashbacks or future, I don't know, you could do all types of stuff with that, right? But I think you could really combine a lot of those together. And especially if you are a GM that wanted to do a really epic campaign, and, imagine some decision point towards the end of your first main campaign arc, and you could end up with Nightbane or Dead Rain as the result of what the Beyond the Supernatural characters decide, or fail, or pass, or make a weird decision, or you know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff you can do with the modern games to mix them together that way. That could be really neat. One that as a designer, that I think would be really fun to explore is, what if something like Recon was updated to match the core Palladium rules, and then combined with other settings, like Rifts or.
No. Recon and Dead Rain, I think would be great, especially as a period piece.
Right.
Like,
right.
You're
so much you could do with each one.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Southeast Asian jungles, you don't know what's in there. You do
the
now.
The Vietnam War was just a war against zombies.
It's a war against zombies now.
Explains my dad.
So Neil Blomkamp did. His studio has done a bunch of like these mini short movie things that they released on, I think, YouTube, and there's some really wicked ones that deal with Vietnam. Anyways, I think you could do some really cool stuff with that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go, folks. There's some ideas in there, and obviously some people put some ideas in the chat. I think the Wormwood plus Palladium Fantasy, that one was brought up quite a bit as well. Yeah,
a little OP for me.
Yep, I like that too.
Yeah, but you can turn it's like when I say that I take Rift stuff or Rift's ideas and put it into After the Bomb, I just remove the MDC. You can still do it.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
All right, this one, put on your game designer hat for a moment. So auto dodge, I really tried to reword this question, so hopefully I got the intent right. Auto dodge really helps separate the juicer and a few select RCCs when it comes to Rift's combat. This guy states that since 2005, auto dodge seems to be all over the place when it was once a pretty exclusive ability, and even apparently in the 2000s version of Robotech had excessive auto dodge. He's concerned that games and supplements will continue this trend going forward. And he get a lot of ideas on there how auto dodge kind of bogs down combat and so forth as well. But as a game designer, first of all, have you seen that? Because I guess I haven't referenced that deeply with it. That auto dodge is like ever since 2005, it's just all over the place. And then two, is that a design trend that Palladium is going to continue going forward?
I mean, I think I know what he's talking about. It ended up in like different commando martial arts style, right? Or hand-to-hand combat style. And then it did end up in other products. I don't see that being, I mean, I don't intend to continue a 2-decade-old weird move. I mean, it's a core, it's a mechanic, but I don't think it's one of mechanic that needs to be in every Palladium setting or anything like that.
So what you're saying is there's no plan on the table right now to make it more ubiquitous, to make it like everywhere. No,
absolutely not. Yeah, I think auto dodge is best. Is a very special thing for like the juicer to really define them.
Okay. And then we did get this one snuck in because apparently we missed it before during the talk about dinosaurs. Asked if Kevin and Sean was planning on changing the existing dinosaur, but we asked this question. So where were they planning adding feathered dinosaurs? We did ask that question.
Yeah, we did.
And we're not. I mean, the art's going to stay the same. I don't see why feathers would change any of the game mechanics associated with mutant dinosaurs or dinosaur stat entries. So essentially, there are no plans for feathers on dinosaurs.
But you as the GM, because you are in control of the book, and you can put bird bio-e stuff in the dinosaur choice block. You can do that, and if you want more realistic dinosaurs, do that.
And to be fair, feathered Tyrannosaurus still doesn't fly. It just got a coat of feathers.
It's like a
it's got a bonus,
I guess. I
don't
know.
Weather.
Yeah, there you go. That's why they did survive the meteor.
It gives them an extra bonus on their, survival check, and I don't know, or saving throw for cold. I don't know.
All right, moving off the game stuff, at least I think for a while. First one's just a question about the web store. Has there been any progress on the Palladium web store to allow PDF sales? This was mentioned a while back, and to my knowledge, hasn't been addressed.
Yes, it was mentioned a while back, and there was a lot of research we had to do because of the merchant software you use. And using our current merchant software, it's virtually not possible to do what we want to do with that and make sure we have quality and all that kind of stuff. But as has been announced previously, we do have a new store in development, and I've been on it. You know what I mean? It's pretty cool and it looks great. But there's a lot of back end stuff that does take time to make sure that we get really nice, smooth launch and all that kind of stuff. So but yeah, being able to buy PDFs direct from our store is something that Kevin and I both agree. I mean, we agree on virtually everything, but we both think that this is something we really want to do through the Palladium web store. And so as part of that upgrade and using a different whole merchant backend, that is something that is very important to us, because it the less the more that we can provide to the fans and the more directly we can provide it to the fans, the better it is for everybody involved, right? Economically and convenience wise.
So as a follow-up comment, the next time you're here, that question's going to pop up again because it pops up every time you guys come here. So now onto the Christmas surprise package. Will you ever consider? Now, by the way, there's a bunch of commentary after this, so might know what your answer is going to be on this one. But there, on my Discord, there's a bunch of commentary that came after this, so let's see if you match that. Will you ever consider adding miniatures as an option for the Palladium surprise package? For example, replace X value of books with X value of miniatures.
I mean, I don't know. We mostly are focused on books here.
Right.
The thing with miniatures is
in small runs, they're super expensive.
Well, and yeah, especially in small runs.
Yeah.
And that could be considered. We just have to be really careful to just throw something in there. I know that might seem to make sense for some people, that don't see the back end details. But I mean, I'll definitely talk with Kevin about it. But right now, I mean, the offerings are fairly limited, and the other thing is that to make them sustainable, for instance, when you're buying things through the surprise package, you're getting a really great deal. And similarly, when we sell things through distributors, they're getting a really great deal. Put it that way. So, for instance, sometimes it might be a fact of we can offer, and then there's the middleman aspect, especially for stuff that we're not producing ourselves or directly connecting with the manufacturer for. So when it comes to the fan roll TMNT stuff, that's a Kickstarter exclusive because they're also getting a big cut, right? And they're getting paid. So it's not possible to offer that again, as put 4 hands in the chain or whatever,
right,
that all receive money, and not have some like ridiculous price on the other end. When it comes to, say, fan roll stuff, we love fan roll. Those guys are great. The owner is a great guy, and we love working with them. But I guess that's a roundabout answer. But yeah, sometimes it just depends on the chain of production and costs, just to be honest. So, but I'll mention it to Kev. We'll have to look at some of the numbers behind the scenes.
Right. Okay. But what I'm worried about is if it's even possible for such a small run for the Christmas surprise thing, because it's a limited time and not everyone's going to want miniatures, so there's not going to be a whole lot. So most likely, to make it cost effective, like even revenue neutral, they might be like the equivalent of army men, Well,
the other thing is, if you really want minis, just write in your Christmas surprise package letter, say, hey, by the way, if you have minis, I would love to have them in my surprise package. You have to remember, we only really have minis for riffs. And it's a lot of people are going to be expecting books and stuff like that. So and that's what most people's lists are. But if you're really into minis, I mean, please, by all means, write that in and say, I would love to have Riffs minis included. But that's, and again, it's so so it's not as ubiquitous enough. And I think that if we just start giving everybody some Riffs minis, I don't know if people would be expecting that. Or be happy
they wouldn't want that unless they asked for it. It's like, man, this is for books, man. Like, I get it.
And then the other thing is that's just outside of production chain and prices and timing and stuff. Because I mean, even one thing is like, yeah, we have someone who does minis at this quantity and this type, but then when we were going to go do the TMNT, it's like that's a whole nother order of magnitude. There are providers that they just literally can't produce that quantity of them. It's impossible. It would take them like years to produce the minis. So that means that when we want to plan that product and we don't know how it's going to do in the Kickstarter, the math can get really complicated.
Okay. I'm going to skip that question. Sorry if your question didn't get answered, but I don't think a couple of them are appropriate for today anymore. So we're going to go down to the long section of plans and books. These are all very similar types of questions. So pretty much asking what are your plans for the future? What are the books? But we'll kind of knock them out at one at a time here. So someone is curious about the quote unquote life expectancy of the TMNT IP. He says, are you already considering new source books for TMNT rather than just updating the older material? And what can we expect content wise in the future?
We're very excited about the TMNT IP, and I'll say so is everyone else involved with it. And this has been really great. To be honest, we don't have anything nailed down that we're ready to talk about or announce yet.
Okay. We can slide this one in here. For $10. Thank you for the $10 for a fundraiser for Wounded Warrior Project. How about a Savage Worlds Battlelords of the play real 23rd of the Battlelords of the 23rd Century one shot, 4th to 6th edition. Wait, Savage Worlds is its own game system.
They did a battle.
Yeah, I know they did, but I'm saying, but there wouldn't be a 4th through 6th edition of the Savage Worlds one. Thank you. So it's either Battlelords 4th or 6th edition, or it'd be the Savage Worlds Battlelords. They're different games.
They are different games, but is the background the same as 4th through 6th? Because in 7th they changed the way races, act and
here's the thing though. To get the Battlelords experience, I'm believe it or not, I'm not against the Savage Worlds Battlelords. If you're just looking for a military, because it really is. That's what it's a military sci-fi game. That's what it's bent on. And if you can do it, the problem is the rules are so different. There's literally no role-playing game I have played that's as crunchy as Battlelords of the 23rd Century. You name one, I'll tell you you're wrong, because Battlelords of the 23rd Century is the epitome of meaningful crunch. Savage Worlds is the opposite of crunch. Now, do I think you could emulate Battlelords? Yes, because the crunch is very specific. I think that Savage Worlds would do a much better job of doing Battlelords than it does of Rifts, and it's because of just the certain classes. My opinion, whatever. But I mean, I would be into playing one. But I just wanted to point out there that Savage Worlds and 4th through 6th edition are actually two different games.
Yeah, if we're not running, some giant Kickstarter that's run out of control and I'm exhausted, I'd love to jump in on a game as a player or something.
It's my secret. It's my secret. When I go to Gen Con, I always find one Battlelords of the 23rd Century game to sit in on. It's like I just got to have that little fix and then I'm done.
Yeah, or Call of Cthulhu. I really felt bad that I had to back out Heathen Dog. So,
that's right. You were supposed to be in his game.
Yeah, you were supposed to be there. Everyone had a good time. And
no, that's not a problem. I was just so exhausted. I was worried about performing. I was okay jumping on to the chat. And
performance anxiety is very common. You walked into that. That was a T-ball shot.
I kind of tossed that one up for you. Yeah.
Given the Rifts Adventure Guide, Adventures in Dinosaur Swamp, and the upcoming Yinsloth Adventures have been so well received, there's a possibility of more books centered on adventures versus world building, especially in Palladium fantasy.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I mean, Kevin and I've had a lot of discussions about. And Kevin was really excited to bring a lot more adventure material, for instance. To Yinsloth Jungles, which then led to it becoming two books. He's like, I can't show I'm going to fit this on one book. And I was like, okay, well, maybe we don't have to, So, and I think if you take a look at Titan Robotics, we did some really interesting stuff with adventure material and plot possibilities or alternate timelines. I think that. I think that the best books, they coexist really well. Like if you look at Source Book 1, and it's got that great introductory, basically Rift's adventure that kicks off the whole Archie 3 thing, and Hagen and James T. In a really fun way that is so uniquely Rifts. And there was some other books like Juicer Uprising had some cool stuff with the Blacks, and the Mercenaries had a campaign idea that a little less fully fleshed out. But than some of those more fleshed out adventures, as opposed to just like, here's 100 adventure ideas. And I think there's nothing wrong with that either. I mean, that we kind of did all of that in Titan Robotics, and I think that Matt Clements did a great job of it, because he primarily wrote that material, as anyone who has the raw edition can see. But yeah, no, I think that our plan is to definitely include some more adventure material that's easy for GMs to jump in and run at various levels, into every book moving forward, as and of course in publishing that can be a slow or disjointed process, kind of like how I mentioned the sci-fi companion is the last companion book to come out, from the traditional companions for Savage Worlds, but it was the first one in development. So it's weird how that happens sometimes. But yeah, so no, that definitely is something that I think you're going to continue to see moving forward, and that's one of the things I really have a lot of respect for. And it's funny coming back to TMNT and Other Strangeness, decades later, and saying, wow, what was so cool about this? What was the neat things? I can't believe how much adventure material and NPCs or frenemies, they could be allies or enemies, or, there's so much in that book, and yet it has such a small form factor. So we're looking to do more like that. Absolutely. Make it more of a regular thing, I think, maybe.
Okay. I'm going to ask this as a two-parter. These are two separate questions, but I'm going to ask them together. They make basically the same thing, it seems. Do you plan on extending the lore in any of your other IPs, or do you plan to stick mostly with Rifts and Palladium Fantasy? Do you have ideas in the works for new IPs, where they're wholly different Rifts dimensions, maybe an anime-inspired setting, a cyberpunk dieselpunk setting, or a film noir setting, etc.?
Yes.
I'm surprised you even went that far. Okay.
That's weird that you actually said yes. Wow.
Oh, we've got all types of ideas. I mean, I still have,
Right.
well, two games when Kevin and I first, so I mean, we have a bunch of interviews, and I know that some people haven't, you don't have to go watch 20 hours of interviews to catch up on the weird Kevin and Sean lore. But so in that vein, when Kevin asked me, well, before Kevin ever asked me to join him at Palladium as his business partner, I was working on Rips for Savage Worlds. We gotten to become good friends, and I actually incorporated my own company and was going to move overseas, live real cheap, and bootstrap, because I can do everything with the art. I can do the writing, design, layout, art direction, my own role-playing game company, while still working on as much Savage Worlds stuff and we were talking about Palladium stuff as well. And I had two core game lines that I wanted to launch, and Kevin thought they were great ideas, and he one of the things he said to me is, he said, I know you're really excited about that stuff, Sean. He's like, we can do that too. So yeah, there's stuff that there are other things that he even mentioned it at the last open house, and said the title of one of them, and everyone just crickets. It was hilarious for me, but because if it ever comes out, they'll be like, whoa! But
I was there. I heard about it.
And I thought it sounded weird. So we've got some ideas for sure. And there's another one that I've come up with that I think is a lot of fun, and talk with Kevin about. No, we've got all types of ideas. Executing at high quality is the trick, right? And so I know it might feel slow, but we are human. I did get COVID and then long COVID. Kevin is a little older than he looks. Maybe he looks so young, but I mean, he is an older gentleman, right? And so, I'm just amazed at how productive he is and how hardworking he is. I'll just say that. But we're doing everything we can to clear off our plates so that we can execute more and more of these ideas.
So no more big TMNT Kickstarters that take up all your time?
I'm
Or
not going to say
more
that.
of them.
Right. I mean, that the question is, I mean, this is really good for Palladium.
Yes.
Yeah.
For everything for Palladium. And just, you know, keep watching and see. But the thing that I'd say is that yeah, we definitely want to do more with the funny thing is we actually want to really focus on just Palladium's IPs. We're not super interested in doing a lot of licensed stuff. But TMNT is kind of the exception, and there's a legacy there, and that's the number one things ask us about the number one thing that fans ask us about wherever we go. So we really want to do right by the fans, and also, you know, Eric Wujic was very influential on me, and was, you know, Kevin's, you know, great friend, and so taking the chance to do this is been really awesome too. So yeah, I don't know, I can't talk about specific things, but yeah, we have
You know.
all we went on a road trip, and I remember just Kevin and I you know, you're going and you're driving, and 4 hours flew by as we were talking about, we could do this, we can do this, we can do this. We have this idea for, you know, Heroes Unlimited. We have this idea for this idea for fantasy, and yeah, I think if we have our druthers and things go the way that I want them to, you're going to see a lot of cool stuff. And you can see the list on our website.
Yep.
But one of the big things is is getting through. I mean, there's just so many things that we're still trying to catch up with that were talked about. And if I can just free Kevin up as much as possible, and maybe he can write them. But one of the big things is we're really excited about finishing up the 2 core books for Beyond the Supernatural. I think that's just a great setting. We also have a lot of fans interested in Nightbane.
Is one of them the magic book? So I don't have to get beat up that you guys haven't talked about the magic book?
Yeah, it's Beyond I mean, it's on the site. I mean, it's Beyond Arcanum and Tomes Grotesque. And I mean, if it's on the site,
it's pretty much a deal.
I mean, we're very serious about that list. That's not like a joke. And that's why I made sure we took time to make that page. Obviously, we've released, I think, a book since that page has been updated. But yeah, that's the truth. That's what we're willing to say and share is right there on that webpage.
All right. This is the last one that's related directly to that, which is okay. So what is the thing what's the thing that you're most excited about Palladium releasing next? And I was like, I think I know the answer to this one. It'll be a quick answer, but let's find out. What's the thing that you are most excited about releasing next? This is supposed to be above and beyond TMNT, outside of TMNT.
Oh yeah, Bestiary 2.
Yep. Well, I bought that like 2.5 years ago or whatever it was, so I'm excited for that one as well. I love Monster Manuals, so can you spill I think it's actually out now. Rifts Antarctica. No, that's pre-orders out. Can you tell people a little bit what they can expect to find in Rifts Antarctica?
Yeah, Rifts Antarctica is, you know, Kevin's talked about his was it Beyond the Mountains of Madness inspiration on that one from H.P. Lovecraft. Mm-hmm. And it's Kevin, so I mean it's also got a lot of its own energy to it. We were really, I mean, he's got it in his office right now. The cover painting by John Zalesnik, and the sort of bio-enhanced creature on the cover. Mm-hmm. And so it deals with the Slugorth and this very mysterious, weird set of ancient facilities or buildings. I mean, it's some creepy, cool stuff.
Found the Stargate. They found the Antarctica gate.
No, in H.P. in the Lovecraftian lore, Antarctica was the base millions of years ago on Earth for these super powerful, highly advanced, highly technological creatures. elder gods. I forget exactly, but they were either pushed away or died out or something. And if you want to make it Palladium, you could easily. The Splugorth did it because why not? The Splugorth are giant buttholes, so they would do all this stuff, right?
It's not the Splugorth. These things hate the Splugorth.
Oh yeah,
I'll throw that.
yeah.
So
Even better.
it's
Let's have some really more powerful things on Earth that hate each other.
They're not there now.
it's not. It's not what you think. Yeah, trust me. It's pretty interesting and enigmatic. So
Cool.
No, I think people are going to really enjoy it. We've gotten a lot of. So the funny thing is we'll say a book's coming, and Palladium is a little different. We will have Kevin will have initial concept usually, and then someone will write a manuscript, and then we'll take that manuscript, and if it looks like it's 80% of the way there or whatever, which is usually the goal, because Kevin wants to be inspired by what's in there too to add more, and then we'll commission art, but then some of that art will lead to
Changes in
new
text.
ideas for what can go in the book, which could lead to more art commissions, which is what's happened, for instance, with Antarctica. I mean, that's why a Palladium book will feel like something you want on your shelf that isn't this half-baked idea. It's actually been through multiple conceptual revisions, kind of like looking at Star Wars concept art or something versus what you ended up with in the movie.
Even if the book itself doesn't interest me, like Vampire Kingdoms, for example, I have zero interest in it. It's still very well written. If you're into the whole vampire thing, if you're into Mexican lore and so forth, like you're gonna find a lot of good game information, semi-historical, mythological information. Like it's all baked into those books.
Twists or idea or concept in there, yeah, and so that's that. Kevin. He really has this dedication to making sure that what you get is going to be just good stuff. So, and again, I think that's one of the strengths of the Raw edition. And checking that out if you're a fan that's really interested in that. Books are very big, complicated things, and sometimes things happen for different reasons. Like with Titan Robotics, a bunch of art that was initially commissioned was never turned in, and so, but Stephen Cummings did a lot of extra mecha and robot and power armor type art. And so when I went to complete the book, a lot of the manuscript changed to fit that new art, which had to, a lot of things had to be kind of like moved around and shifted around and stuff like that. But I think it ended up with a really cool book, but yeah, that can be a challenge sometimes too. So, but the other thing is now, without getting too much in the weeds, I mean, Kevin and I have different ways that we, I'm much more like when I work on Savage Riffs, I'm still the line editor on Savage Riffs, but the team there is really great guys. But I work very closely with them on a very detailed outline. I tell them different things that I want to see, different mechanics I want done. I want, and I mean, it's not every time I want you to write the plot command has to be this or something, but sometimes it is. I think this is the conflict you need to put in the adventure for this world book chapter on Triax and the NGR versus the Garble Kingdom or whatever. And so Kevin's much more. I don't want to compromise the possible vision of this author, so he takes a lighter touch. Sometimes that can end with different results, and then maybe need more revisions or adjustments, and so that's just two different approaches. I think there's merits to both, but yeah, for me, that can be a little bit different answer. Okay. So as I do a lot of that, I mean, one of the things we're focusing on is me being freed up is more for me to be free as a creative director and work in parallel as Kevin is free to write Kevin's books that he already has these great concepts for, but we cross-pollinate every day. That's why it's great us being here in the same office. But that helps the fans understand our modus operandi a little more.
Gotcha. No, that's good stuff. Rifter submissions. Are you still taking Rifter submissions? Is Wayne still taking, or is he overloaded, or?
Well, I mean, he did get injured, and
Yep.
then Turtle thing blew up, and then we had some had to get a new warehouse person. Yeah, we're still taking the submissions. The
Okay.
Rifter is not like lost or forgotten, but yeah, I'm not going to apologize for it being delayed. It's just that's something outside of my control, unfortunately. And Wayne, he is the Rifter in a lot of ways, right? So I hope everybody can be understanding that his recovery is really important, and giving him.
Well, you're all humans, and things happen to humans. This year for me has been horrible, and I won't get into that. But had a good run for a little bit. Now I'm getting kicked in the ding this year. That happens to people, and that causes delays. And we're all. People have to understand. Palladium isn't a mega corporation here. It's real
I neither
humans.
confirm nor deny I am human.
Very well. And then so
it's not forgotten. So and take this time to polish up your stuff.
There
right?
you go.
I mean, the thing is I'll just real quickly, moving the Rifter to an annual type format where we're not trying to do it every quarter or all the time is something where the page count can be a little variable. If we have really kick butt submissions for not just riffs, which is often the case, then we want to be able to publish it. And we did that with Rifter 85. And so, yeah, in the future, that's the same way. If we have a lot of great submissions, you might see a thicker Rifter. If we're like, hey, we feel like these are the ones that are going to be easier to bring, because it's like how much effort and how much work do we put into the Rifter article, right? Or how much can we just say, hey, this is really great. I had a couple of spelling corrections or formatting corrections, and boom, I was able to publish this. That was done. I mean, it really can be very different depending on each article, because it's coming from completely different authors, right? And so, yeah, but if we have a lot of stuff that's really great to bring to print, then you'll probably see a thicker Rifter. So take this time to run the spell check and, use Grammarly.
Everybody's friend.
Grammarly, yes, but also
Google
very
Docs.
important. Read some Rifters. Change your stuff to that format. It'll make everything easier, and it'll probably get yours put on the top of the pile. The less work they have to do editing, the faster it's going to get into a magazine.
When you're going to go do your monster entries or your OCC entries and stuff like that, go look at Titan Robotics, Manhunters, Coalition Manhunters, Beyond Supernatural Creature feature, because that's where you're going. Don't go pull out some 30-year-old book. Look at those, because that's the way you're going to want to format your stuff. I know that that's kind of a moving target, and that's one of the things that I've talked about before. I have a bunch of stuff notes, but putting out a definitive Palladium style guide is going to be something that's going to be really important. But until then, go look at what's already out there. You should be able to match that.
Okay. Well, Heathen Dog already asked the movie question, so the other one that comes with that, using the word ubiquitous. Oh my God! Now I can't even say it again today. Video games. People want video games. Give us video games. Apparently.
I love Helldivers 2.
So can we call it Rifts Divers 2 or Heroes Unlimited Divers?
I love video games. So a lot of people may or may not know this, but yeah, when I went to the University of Texas in Dallas in the Arts and Technology program, first after I got out of the Air Force, I got a visual arts, like a visual design degree and associates. Then I got my bachelor's in design and production in a program for the design and production of video games or animated movies is what it was. That was the whole push. And I did take a lot of game design and writing and stuff courses, but yeah, I love video games. Now, my brother Zach, he works at Riot Games, and well, he worked at Riot Games for 12 years. Now he works at Respawn on Apex Legends as one of the, I think it's the user interface, like lead art manager guy. Those are massive teams, right? Shane Hensley worked from creator of Savage Worlds, worked for many years very successfully in the computer game industry. Personally, just the difference. What we do is books are completely different, but also they're just to do it right. A video game is a massive undertaking. If you want to, even not just even a AAA, like a AA type title, that's not a bug-ridden mess. It's years and probably $4 million of capital.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm saying that after having last week talked with someone just on the general subject of, man, I think you can make a really great Rifts video game. This is someone who makes video games, and big ones. I think we can make a really great Rifts video game with $4 million. Yeah, I don't have $4 million.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You got that in your pocket. You have that. Can you write me a check?
Right. So I mean, yeah, that's the trick. This isn't just and trust me, I've studied it. I went to school for it, and I'm very well versed in it. Yeah, that would be really cool. But generally, and we've said this before, I think. But again, it's the whole thing is we do the best we can do with the tabletop role playing games, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that is going to attract the interest for video games, movies, other products like that. Yeah, we can do dice.
without diving into it too deeply, how much would it take? And I'm not just talking money; I'm talking more an effort to license it out to somebody that maybe you trust, like a Riot Games or something like that, to say, okay, they want to buy your license to make the game.
You don't go. I mean, you can, but generally,
people come to you.
Well, no, I get that. My point being, if somebody would be like, hey, there's going to be still some capital investment in there. You're not going to want to lose or certainly if I were Kevin, I wouldn't want to lose creative control over my universe and so forth.
So, if you're licensing something out, there is the possibility of damaging the value of your IP, your intellectual property, or the possibility of losing control of it in some way, right? Like say your core game rules. If they're going to build a video game that use the exact same core game rules as Palladium, right? Percentile skills, D20 combat, blah, 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 right? Or characters or anything, likenesses, story, if you don't have a good contract. But in general, you don't go to them, they come to you and they pay you, right? I mean, people get this all backwards with Savage Rifts. They came to Kevin, they pay Kevin. This isn't Kevin went to them and said, please put Rifts into Savage Worlds.
I get it.
It's not how it's done. And it's not, so, and trust me, there are people in Hollywood and the games industry, the entertainment industry at large, they're looking for stuff to license. And that's their bread and butter, right?
Lord knows that Hollywood needs something freaking new right now, and not just the reboot of the same old stuff over and over again. And Rifts, I'm not even a Rifts guy, but I'd go see a Rifts movie tomorrow. I'd pay for a whole row of seats of people to go just to have something new out there and something that at least I enjoy reading the books. Yeah,
sure. I'd pay to go see a Deadlands movie. Shane Hensley created that, right? And there's been some interesting stuff about, these teaser trailer ideas of what that could look like, a TV show or a movie. No, absolutely. It's not controlled by us the way that some people imagine, nor is it as approachable. Writing a book's hard. We get all types of advice about how many books we should get putting out by people who've never published a book. So, and I'm not trying to say that to be mean. It's just like a video game is like crazily exponentially more complicated. But we're talking 3 years of 1,000 people that are many of them technical experts, highly expert technically proficient people in programming and physics and rendering and all this crazy stuff to make a game that could belly flop if it just doesn't have a good intro video and sample gameplay. I mean, it's ridiculous. So,
Well, the one other thing that I would like to just to make sure that gets mentioned that a lot of people don't understand is time. So many times licenses are bought, rented, whatever it's called, and 10 years later they still haven't produced on it. Like that's a normal feature.
yeah, it's all it gets the rabbit hole goes really deep, especially when it comes to video games and movies. But yeah, and the other thing is it sucks our time. Like, negotiating everything to happen for the TMNT and Other Strangeness. I mean, that was a lot of time and a lot of mind. Let me just tell you, a lot of mind over matter, and we will solve this problem. And I mean, I can't. It's hard to even fathom until I was in the middle of it, and I'm just like, this is mind-boggling. So, and that's working with really great people that we really trust, and so come to really trust them through working with them. So, anyways, that's just an honest answer, and and so you could spend a lot of time trying to shop stuff around in Hollywood, but again, our attitude is let's just make the coolest stuff that we can make, and then let it naturally happen. It's it's kind of like being the girl at the dance. You just wait till the guy asks you. That's just how it generally works.
You just hope somebody finds your dress pretty.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Okay, 1.5 questions left.
Your charming attitude.
I don't have that.
So we're off the product stuff now. If I had any more on there, I'm just not asking them anymore. I'm bored of those questions. We'll get to them next time. But you guys get the idea of what's to come, what they can say, what to expect, and so forth. So let's ask something a little personal here. And what do you do to get into the mood for gaming, especially when you've got a ton of real life going in the way? So right now, I've heard you guys say that you're still trying to play every now and again. What do you do? What's that inspiration to say, you know what, I just can't wait to sit down and play Rifts or Palladium Fantasy or whatever it is you're happening to play that day? Savage Worlds.
Yeah, for me, it's just storytelling. I mean, what kind of story do I want to tell? What kind of genre do I want it to be? I mean, any kind of popular media can influence me. I playing Helldivers 2 lately, and I'm like, man, I want to go do some sort of tactical RPG like Recon or some of the like skirmish war games out there. It makes you want to do that, because what are you doing in the game? You're going, fighting a mission, returning, upgrading your stuff, jumping in, fighting another mission, right? So it's very similar to that rinse and repeat cycle in tabletop wargaming and tactical war games and role-playing games. Yeah, I think media is a great way to get jazzed. So yeah, I could, if I really want to get excited about going to play something like Phase World with the right stuff, I might go watch Aliens or Prometheus, or something like that. And that's kind of how I do it. Of course, good books can be just any sort of entertainment or media. I think can be great. But that's for me. If I'm like struggling with that, or if I'm having trouble as a game master, or if I'm just a player that wants to be jazzed. I mean, and it can be fun to kind of look at what the themes are, or I want to play a character like that, or how would that character act in this situation, and stuff like that can be really fun.
Okay. And the last one of the list I'm going to ask today is Bear's going to kill me for this one. So how do we get one or both of you to play in Bear's Codex Albana Palladium Fantasy game? Just a session. Sit down with us.
You better say.
I don't know. I mean, I'm open to being bribed.
Oh my God! If I knew you could be bribed, I'd get.
I like pineapple pizza.
I'll have half. So it's yes, Bear. I did that. What you gonna do about it now, buddy? It's like, I'm listening. Yeah, there we go. I'm gonna say it. I think Let's Plays are generally boring, and to be fair, like it's more exciting to be in the game. Even with his Let's Plays, it's more exciting to be in the game than it is because I rewatched them after the fact. But they are amazing Let's Plays, and I'm not even just the ones I'm in, the other ones that he's doing as well. Excellent game master. So yeah, I'd love to see Sean and/or Kevin sit down at the game with us playing Palladium Fantasy, and
or maybe that needs to happen as part of a charity stream or something. So
yeah. There we go. Veterans Day. Let's get it going. We'll do the Wounded Warrior thing, and we'll do a Let's Play. Yeah.
I mean, just like I said, just give us a good excuse to do it.
See, I was expecting the polite, oh, we're so busy.
He's just going to bail on you.
Oh, wow.
No.
Yeah. All right, Sean, I know we've gone over the time that we allotted for today, and I know there are a lot of things going on in the background. So
it's been a while since we've done an interview, and Kevin really was unable to be here today, and I'm not happy about that. But I'm glad to take the time to chat with the fans and hear everyone's questions. Sorry, I can't keep up the chat logs like nuts. So I turn it off. I just listen to what Max and Heathen Dog say, but let y'all filter the whole thing for me. But glad to be here. Glad to answer the questions. I'm not scared of any questions, or you can't really offend me very much. So I'm just happy to be here and chat with everybody. And I hope you don't mind. We're just trying to be real about what we're doing, and we're trying to do what we love and prioritize everything the best we can within our business plan and what's exciting and what can we do next. So
I see a couple of startup here. Oh, did you want to ask this question, Heathen Dog? You started?
You know what? I was going to, but now is the time to go.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. Well, any last comments anything you want me to rehash one more time here for the fans? Other than that, I think we're done. I think we did a fairly decent job today, considering things changed at the last minute, which is totally understandable. Again, all our best and love to Kevin right now through this. But anything final words basically that you've got?
No, just if you haven't done the backer kit survey, please do. We'd like you to get your stuff. I know most people are really happy, I think, with understanding about us needing to charge shipping closer to when everything ships. I basically had our shipping provider beg me to do that and not charge shipping sooner. Just in case there are price fluctuations, but could go up or down. He didn't want to see Palladium go out of business because of some shipping price fluctuation in a couple of months. But so please bear with us on that and be understanding. We are doing the best we can to. I think fans are going to be very happy with, especially ones in Canada. We're hoping this is going to be an even better rate for shipping for y'all. One thing that Kevin and I were talking about recently, also for fans in Canada, I think it's Universal is a distributor in Canada. So if you are having a tough time with shipping fees, then do check with your local game store, your friendly local game store, about getting our titles distributed to them. That way you can do a runaround on shipping. Please go check out what Matt Ballant has got with Valley of the Pharaohs, or tell people about the pre-order store, because I really would hate people to look.
When is the date for that? This is a really good question here. It's when. So the backer kit survey, the pre-order store. When is that? We're done. We're closed. We got to move on.
So we're going to keep it open as long as we can. But when we send, so there's different steps in the process. But when we have to finalize things for production of the Kickstarter exclusive items, that I'm guessing that's going to be sometime in the next 3 to 5 weeks. That's when we're going to lock that in. Now, after that, the pre-order, the regular items that are going to be available via retail, people can keep getting those or adding those on until everything ships. But we're going to leave that open as long as we can. At the same time, I don't want to delay delivery of finished goods, right? So,
okay.
But that's the honest answer. So,
3 to 5 weeks.
Just get in there now and do your surveys.
My thing is, I would say get in now. I'm trying to just be honest about what the latest dates might be.
Right. I mean, if you don't do it between now and 3 weeks from now, personally, I don't think you deserve stuff. So shut up.
I don't, Polly, I don't know what this means. No, do you inform us when we give you our information?
Oh yeah, when that so BackerKit will be sending that out. We'll also be posting it, I'm sure, as an update to the Kickstarter itself, and in our weekly update. And you know, I've heard some people say, like, we try to make sure that everything that we put in the weekly update or anything that's important is also in major Kickstarter updates. But you have to understand, like, yeah, sometimes the newest info is going to trickle out in the weekly update. Please don't be upset about that. When we do updates to the Kickstarter, they are official. They're considered official, paramount, published, you know, marketing or whatever. So we have to get that like actually like specifically approved and stuff like that. So it just means that sometimes you might get a little bit a little earlier information via the Palladium newsletter. So I'm sorry if that annoys anybody, but deal. We're doing our best. So
honesty is better than telling people what they want to hear and have it being bad information. So that's good stuff.
Also, plus, who doesn't feel good about getting information before it's official? Everyone loves that. You know, so you're just telling people away, hey, you know, if you look here every week, you could get information that's days before being official.
Yeah, but you know how this works, though. Right. It always turns into, well, so I read that TMNT is coming out soon or something like that. You promised me TMNT. Where is like there's always that leap between fans that gets weird.
Man. There's always crazy cat lady people out there who are going to scream at the wind just because they can. You know, like whatever. Everyone's learned to tune that out by now.
I hope so. But yeah, we're earnest people. Again, really great props to Chris Landauer taking a lot of stuff off of my plate and Kevin's plate during the Kickstarter, and then since then, and you'll see more stuff like that. He's going to be taking a bigger hand moving forward sometime in the near future. And we got to get him spun up. We're putting together comprehensive marketing calendars and stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff like this that we're doing behind the scenes. I hate to bore you guys with it, but you know, you're going to see more of things like that. And he is part of our, I would call our business brain trust for sure. So you know, I hope the fans get to enjoy getting to know him. I've worked with him for a number of years as you know, a peer at Pinnacle and on the Savage World stuff, where he does their marketing and crowdfunding social media efforts as well. Works with them on that, and now he's working with us. And so we're really glad to have him on board. And yeah, just please be patient because we're all earnest people trying to do the best we can. But I really appreciate everyone's support. But yeah, don't miss out. And if you can, obviously, if you're like, you know, Starvin' Marvin, you know, you're macaroni and cheese all the time. Like, yeah, you know, don't, you know, go crazy and max out your credit card on Turtles miniatures or something. But if you have the funds, or you think a friend might want something, get it now. Get it in the system now. Get your address in the system now. You know, I just hate when things like that happen. Now, if they do, you know, please contact us as quickly as you can via Kickstarter at palladiumbooks.com or calling our office listed on Google. You know, Monday through Friday. So that's it.
All right.
Love you guys. Thanks for your time. Love
Thank
fans.
You got like 5 minutes. We're done. Not even 5 minutes. Like 2-3 minutes after we're done here.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. I'm going to zoom and say, Heathen Dog, any words of wisdom that you want to give folks for today? We put up the little thank you.
Well, actually, no. I mean,
I've got a couple of quick announcements.
I want to overshadow Sean. I mean, that was really good. Mm-hmm. He probably wrote that down. He cheated.
It's okay. So the only announcements I have is next week I will be finishing up with Adventures in Dinosaur Swamps. I think you are finishing your Traveler.
Next week is Easter.
Oh, that's right. You're not going to be. So that means I have to have like a double episode. Oh, dang it. Well, Palladium Megaverse, or is it Rifts Dimension Book 7 Megaverse Builder might be the other one on there. I'm doing so many Rifts books and I don't even play Rifts. That's weird. But anyway, look forward to that next week, and happy Easter to those who don't watch or watch on video later. But so that we're not wasting any more Sean's time, we're going to let you all go. I hope everybody has a wonderful week. I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you got the information that you wanted. I tried to pull everything out of them that I could. You got what you got. I think it was good stuff, and I hope to see you all next week. week.